Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time zone it is for you. We have NIP doing B's back against RNG today, up here in the LPL. Sam and I are both actually going to be casting today, so for those of you who are familiar with mainly just Sam, who's been doing a lot of stuff on Onivia's channel for the last few days, because I've been indisposed, but you get to see both of us for this first time. We are the only brothers that cast together within major esports as far as we're aware of. So enjoy some brother commentary today. We've got some stuff we still got to set up, but we will be with you shortly. Oh, and Jamie as well. Thank you so much for the Prime. And for those who are following and subscribing over the last few days, it means an awful lot. It doesn't go missed. Thank you so much for the support. And a good morning to you. Okay, we should get into this, shouldn't we? As we were saying in the last few streams as well, we're starting to play some of just the Riot creative-free music in the background, just to try and avoid some copyright stuff as well, because it gets really annoying trying to scrub that out of the VODs. I haven't loaded up Onivia's chat just yet. I am working on that. As I bid you good morning, and all of the things I said before. Welcome everyone to NIP versus RNG. I'm aware that T1 versus HLE is currently happening, and a lot of people will be tuning into that. We might, if this series goes long, we'll see. Managed to catch the backdraft of that. Did I turn the quality up for the stream? I think I did. I did, yes, cool. Just had to check though for just 1 second. Good morning, good morning, good morning everyone. As we get towards our best of 5 for the day. Do I want to turn the music down slightly? Yeah, why not? This series is really important, yeah. I think this one will confirm NIP to go top of the group if they haven't already. I think technically if RNG win... Thank you so much for the follow. I think if RNG win, things might get spicy for IG versus RNG. I'm just going to check out on the standings right now. Let's have a look-see. Yeah, so as it stands, because, yeah, NIP and RNG are currently on the same game score. RNG haven't played IG. Okay, so if RNG win, IG must beat RNG to progress, and even if, who's IG got to face last as well? Oh, no, sorry, I apologize. So, RNG and IG have faced off already, so RNG, I think they must win this to progress, but if they win and IG lose against FPX, then actually IG will be knocked out even with their super team. So, while it is unlikely that RNG get themselves a victory here, that is like the one real crazy thing that could happen. Right, I've got to go do some stream title stuff for my YouTube stream. That's done, and let's get ourselves that one running as well. And I'll go over to Onivia's now too. Where are you, Onivia? I'm gonna go find all your chats somehow. I would hate to leave you alone without acknowledging your kind messages. Right, I've got to check something else as well. Cool, I can also draw on the screen. Perfect, cool, I think we're ready to go. NIP RNG, as I said, this one is very NIP favored, really. Which, yeah, they've looked really good. I think some people are arguing that they look like the second best team in the league. I don't think I disagree. I think there is... I think right now, if you compare... Well, I think BLG still look like the best, and I don't think there's any evidence to really support anything besides that. Other teams. JDG looked okay, it looked good. Weibo looked good. Of course, they had a very close series together. Top Esports looked like they needed a little bit of a while to fix some stuff. Anyone's Legend, of course, on the list as well, but I think, again, they've got some teething issues. But then there's... I think, as it stands, I think we could have NIP as a second best team. They've looked really clean. They've looked really clean so far. I'm a big fan. Do I hear a Sam there, Sam? You do. Carefully with your laptop on the... Yeah, I just need to get it off my bed and stuff like that because it was in the background. These are our groups. This is our wholly undecided group, actually. I am surprised that NIP are not auto-locked as it currently stands, but they...
Did they have a rough start to the game?
No.
I feel like no.
No, they're 2-0. It's just that the other series being 1-on-1 and them dropping one game to IG maybe means on game score things can get a bit funky.
Things can get funky, right? That makes sense.
I think because if NIP lose their last series 3-0, they will go to +2 game score. Which means that if IG win their last series 3-0, they could technically overtake them, and I think RNG could do the same. Which means that if these two series are 3-0s, then NIP could technically be eliminated through that.
That would be hilarious. Let's not.
It is highly unlikely, but it is our duty. It is our duty to say what could happen.
Yes. How many possible futures does this happen?
Just the one, actually.
There we go.
Because what you have to understand, we'll look through some highlights from NIP as we go through this as well. But
some coffee, be right back.
Cool. I think I bowled the kettle recently, but I don't know if there's enough water for your Americano-esque thing. Ah, man, NIP have looked good, haven't they? They have looked so good. You must elucidate on RNG's chances, because stranger things have happened. So, RNG, if they win this series, and IG lose their next series to FPX, RNG will go through ahead of IG, I'm pretty sure. Though that might also get... Yeah, no, they would do, because FPX would only have one series win. Something like that. I've only just realized, by the way, that your name is Icor Vile. I thought it was like Ichorvial or something like that. No, Icor Vile actually makes a lot more sense. Hey, how's it going either way? Swapping to YouTube because I have premium, you'll get my Twitch Prime in 6 days. That is very kind of you, Sochi. Folks, we are streaming on so many different places now. We are streaming on Nymaera on Twitch TV. We're streaming on Alex Nymaera Hapgood on YouTube. And we're streaming, of course, on Onivia as well. Over on YouTube as well. Whatever your preference is, it still supports us. Just watching, liking, and you know, enjoying the content means a lot to us. If you can drop a Prime or anything like that, or a subscription on those channels, obviously means a lot to us too. But because it helps us continue what we are doing. But, you know, just being here makes an awful lot of difference. So, yeah. Oh, we actually have Niket playing today. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, let's go. Jachi and Niket. So, this is very special to us because Niket is one of our favorite rookies to come through in quite a little while, actually. Niket was playing on Ultra Prime last year. So this is quite cool. Yeah, I like this. This is great. Hey, Sailor Puppy, good to see you. It's going good, Esther. It's going good. What do I think RNG can do? Well, Tanyan hasn't been the worst. I think that Jachi, for a rookie, has played fairly well. I think that Niket is someone which I've been interested in for since he debuted, right? I think Niket's been great. He fell off at the end of his first split, but he was actually very good on his rookie split on the whole still. RNG can play better than LNG. Well, LNG don't look awesome. I don't think you're wrong there. Of course, they've played their last series for the split now too. Okay, let's leave this up here. That works. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Not so bad.
And their chosen matchup is Arky versus Milkway. Look, Arky has been really good, folks. He's been really good. I've really liked the way he's been playing. So, I'm not going to disagree with that.
How much of a step up has that been from last year, where we were all a bit worried about the guy, certainly?
I'm trying to figure out where the best place to put the mic position is for your chair height.
Yeah, I'm trying to squeeze my legs on the other side of this thing. There we go, we're in.
Cool.
We're in, folks.
And then, of course... Oh, that's okay. Cool, that works. I'm actually going to maybe shift this...
On the other side of that?
On the other side of that, just so cable management's a little idiot. Sorry, folks, I'm just trying to figure out where to put headphones and stuff. Hey,
Hi.
we're both in here now.
I can move over a little bit, but this chair's remarkably rolly. It's my
Oh.
new chair.
Right.
I've got this other chair now because obviously this is a sponsor for NLC, so they've sent us a chair, which is lovely. It's a very comfy chair. However, I now have another gaming chair that is very large, and I don't really have anywhere to put. So just sort of sat in front of my wardrobe with like this, looking forlorn, like why are you no longer sitting on me? I just don't have anywhere to put it. So it's just there.
Don't worry, Ari chair. I'll always sit on you. If you didn't notice, this is the Ari chair from wherever.
It's a cool chair, actually. They did that. I will say the league themed ones were
They've been
really
very good.
good.
I really like
the
the
Aqua one's
Akali
too
one.
cool. The
That's
Akali
very
one's
cool.
really cool. The KDA one's quite nice as well. Just quite aesthetically pleasing.
So yeah, just talking through some of the look. It is unlikely that RNG make it through today.
Yes.
However, if they do somehow beat NIP,
Yeah.
the group does become chaos. Okay, there is an interview. I'm gonna. I do actually like listening to these, so I'm gonna.
Please do.
那在这里呢，我们有请到的是 NIP 的打野选手 Aki， 你
Are
好，
we
请
happy
跟
to
大家
talk
打
over
招
or
呼
do you
吧。
want us to be quiet?
I prefer to keep it quiet just so in case there's anyone in here which understands Mandarin. So enjoy interview with Aki, NIP's
对于
jungler.
你来说，你觉得这是一支什么样的队伍呢？相比以
Esther, what
前
the
来
hell?
说，风格有是什么样的变化？
我们都是年龄比较大的选手嘛，因为有点像老邓俱
Got
乐
that
部。
Monty Python song in my
然后
head.
就是因为大家打的时间比较久
If you don't
嘛，
know,
然
you
后
will.
不会因为一两场的胜利而膨胀，大家都会好好练什么的。
好，比较成熟稳重了。那说起来，今天你在打野位上呢，将会对上24年的这个最佳新秀 Milky Way 银河选手。那对于你来说，你觉得这是一场什么样的交锋呢？
就从前两场比赛，我们各自俱乐部前两场的比赛看起来，这可能说会一场 AP 打野的对局嘛。然后，因为去年那个 BO3我输给他了嘛，然后这次我争取能赢下来。
好，争取能够赢下来。最后一个问题，因为目前第一赛段前面2场呢都是一个连胜，你们的表现也是非常的亮眼。那今天最后一场比赛了，有什么想要对队友说的话？
对队友说的话嘛，他们自己也该懂，就希望我们能就季后赛也能一直赢下去吧，包括今天这一场。
好的，我们也期待你们今天比赛当中的表现。好的，现在我们有请到的是 RNG 的 Milky Way 选手。
Ah, Milkway as
先
well.
跟大家打
It's
个招呼
talking
吧。
between both junglers. That's cool.
That's fair. I think that's a good choice
好的，
personally.
那现在呢，我要问一下
Look at
了
that.，
因为距离你们的上一场比赛已经
What
过
an
去了
endearing
快要
fellow.
3周的时间了，目前大家状态调整恢复的怎么样了？
因为时间也是比较久嘛，然后大家过完年比较回来，可能大家的状态还是比较好的吧，比起上一次来。
其实今年啊 ，RNG 的全新阵容也是带给我们挺多惊喜的。那么你认为今天这场比赛和 NIP 的对决，焦点会爆发在哪个位置呢？
我觉得和 NIP 的对决的话，焦点应该在中野辅吧，因为我看了他们比赛的话，他们野辅是联动性比较强的，然后我们应该要加强野辅的联动性，然后多在中路找找机会什么的。
其实对于你们来说，如果说想要晋级到淘汰赛的话，今天这场比赛就是非常关键的了。那你是怎么看待 NIP 这支战队的呢？
因为之前 IP 是3-1 IG 了嘛，然后我就觉得他们也是，自从杜比来之后也是比较强力的队伍嘛。然后因为我们是对 IG 3-1的队伍，所以我觉得，可能对于现阶段的我们来说，NIP 还是一个比较强大的选手吧，但是也并非是不可战胜的。
好的，谢谢 Milky Way 选手，那我们也期待你们在今天比赛当中的精彩表现。
Excuse me, guys. Is there a cough button?
There technically is at the side here, but I think at this point just turn away from the camera.
That's fine. Just checking, is there a cough button? Look, they're showing off their Pokemon card collection on the left.
You know, I have to say, I do actually quite want to do a podcast at some point where we make like the football cards, but for League of Legends.
That
I know
would be
that some
really
people have
nice.
done some, but I'd like to do it in a podcast form so we can kind of like have people's suggestions.
What are the stats that you put on there?
Well, that's the problem. I think it changes between roles. Is the problem?
Yeah.
Because I think,
Yeah,
I think there are a bunch of things you have to miss off, but I think that'd be kind of fun. Because obviously there's stuff like you put it as like, oh, mechanics or laning or positioning or something like that.
You probably just need to put something like clutch in there as well to give certain players.
Or I would just put X Factor because that kind of rolls up all the rest of the stuff.
Because it feels like Beryl would have an insane score on that, for example, where sometimes his hands let him. Like, not that he's bad, but his like straight up mechanics aren't quite the same. But the clutch factor, oh my days, the X Factor, the guy's got it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, someone like Milky Way has that too, right?
Oh,
Like,
hugely so.
Because if we're going to make it more relevant to Stay Series,
Oh,
I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
he's in there. By the way, Sam, Niket is playing for RNG, so we get to cast Niket again, which is really cool.
So can
Leadership, potentially, that could be an X Factor as well.
Can I go on a bit?
Yeah, you do.
Bit
You
of a
talk
rant
about
then?
Niket.
So,
Yes, folks, most of this stream is going to be about NIP because they are very likely to win. Let us have a moment for RNG, struggling team, but with some plucky players that we enjoy.
So Jachi, who is RNG's AD carry, at one time was by far and away, alongside Nayo, the best carries in the LDL. So Nayo was the jungler for RNG, actually no, was it RNG? I'm trying to think who it was for.
A rare atom.
Rare Atom, sorry, and then
Had the very funny name of R.A. Nio, which looked quite like a bad word.
Right, yeah, yes. That wasn't Isley. We'll leave it at that for Rare Atom period. But obviously we had Jachi and Niket who were this insane bot lane in the LDL, and they were absolutely ridiculous. And Nio was the jungler as well. I think this was Top Esports Academy, if I remember correctly. Top Esports Challengers.
Top Esports Challengers, yeah.
That's what it was. And this team was running 23, did a lot of work in 24 as well. They were really, really, really good. People were incredibly hyped. And then Nio came up to LPL and was a bit underwhelming. And we had Niket and Jachi split off, and Niket did okay. Jachi looked a bit weird, but the one series we did see from him recently looked okay, but it wasn't the same. And part of that was the fact that this bot lane as a duo just literally were on the same wavelength about everything. And namely, it was about being hyper aggro. They were a really good Samira L bot lane, that kind of thing. There were a few of those in the LDL. And bringing this duo back together, I think, is really valuable for Jachi, who is genuinely really good, but you're giving him someone who he knows back and forth. It's the Masu and Busio scenario all over again. They might be rookies, but that inbuilt synergy really, really matters. And when they were looking like they were worthy of LPL, it was together. It was when they were running lanes together. And I think this might be a really fun moment now for RNG. We've got someone like Milky Way as well, who is another one of those talents who's now got a little bit more time under his belt, but still quite new and proving himself, to really get some value out of it.
Let's see if they got anything fun on the graphics side before we go into the arena. Of course, this should be an NIP Shenzhen's arena. I really like the clothes promos and stuff they have there. It's very cool. Oh, it's just adverts.
It is just adverts, yeah. Have we run ads?
No, I think it's one that actually.
Consider doing them after the 1v1, although we might be able to need to do it. I think there is ads starting soon, so it might be close to doing them and get it out of the way. Apologies, guys, but they need to be done so Twitch doesn't inundate us with them at the wrong points.
保护有杜杜，尽情开一局。感谢全场保护的杜蕾斯，英特尔酷睿 Ultra 台式机处理器，解锁 AI 新境界。
And now we actually get a cool intro. Oh, they even had Ambessa's like weapon in the ground there. Normally it takes a while to animate these, so I'm surprised they had time in advance notice to do that. That's a Sundered Sky. Oh wait, no, that might just be Jarvan's. No, that's Ral. It's Ral. This is cool as heck. Noxus themed opening. Swain's Hand. Into the arena we
欢迎
go.
来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛第一赛段，让我们有请双方
Okay.
对阵战队。
Get the walkouts, then we'll turn the audio off so we can get some get less copyright claims.
Ninjas in Pajamas.
Hey, C10, good to see you.
山鸡打野
And good to see NIP as well. Thank you so much for the prime there, C10.
下路 Lee 辅助
Oh, NIP, they have looked very good recently, haven't they? I'm enjoying watching this team. I think a lot of people are obviously. We hoped that DMB would turn up in, you know, fire and glory, and he absolutely has. It's just so many times, like you were mentioning the Uzi unretirement.
So.
That didn't really inspire in the same way, of course, with RNG. They've got a long history with Uzi too. DMB has had a great re-debut so far.
小徐
Yeah, and then you look over on the other side at RNG, and it is, I think, a little better than it was last year, but it couldn't have gone much better. It couldn't have gone much worse than last year. And,
No, it couldn't.
and I think, obviously, Milky Way's come back off loan from FPX, and I still look pretty solid, honestly, this year. And I still think there is a little bit of hope for some of these players. People like Jachi and Niket, don't sleep on them, guys. They have actually got quite a lot of talent. They're another set of those LDL players who have done a lot of work over a few years to really earn a try at LPL level. And I think if RNG are willing to commit to at least a couple splits with them, we might see a lot out of them yet.
Oh, well done.
Lantern right, let's go.
Right. Gonna turn the music off there so we get less copyright claims, and we'll go back, of course, to our royalty-free stuff for now, which is actually a very different vibe right now. It's very, very chill.
Oh, that's nice. I can go for a chill champ select.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean back. I'm gonna like put my chair back.
Look at this dude. Look at this dude, man. He's doing like the full. No, actually, he's completely out of focus. The problem. I mean,
That's fine. I can't actually see the screen anymore because I've got like a big mic.
That's great, Sam.
Like mic boom arm in the way.
Well, folks, we have ourselves a 1v1 coming up shortly. They'll just get themselves locked into their set. They actually locked them into their setups, you know.
You're not allowed to leave, yeah.
No, you're not allowed to leave. No, of course not. Why,
I feel
why
like
would we
they've
let
got
them
the
leave?
they've kind of updated the headdress on us because for a while there was the giant Legion of Doom.
Well, they are
evil
still kind of
headquarters.
that. I liked the Legion of Doom Evil Headquarters
Chairs.
Yeah,
They had like
chairs.
horns.
They did look like they were wearing, you know, Galactus's helmet.
There
or
was a
something.
lot of that, yeah. When shall we three lane again?
I can't remember the other bits of that.
In thunder, lightning, or in rain, there to meet with Macbeth.
Huh, very cool.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes, and other such Macbeth opening lines. There you go. Can you tell what I studied at
I didn't
university,
see
folks?
who was going to be the 1v1. Typically, I think it's Tongyuan who's done the 1v1s. By the way, Tongyuan is named after dumplings. I think so.
Is he?
I do keep
Oh.
messing up the pronunciation because it's not actually normal pronunciation.
Tong.
It's like Tongyuan.
Dongyuan. Okay,
Okay,
Dongyuan.
folks,
Okay, we'll try and keep it on there.
into our draft for our 1v1. Who's going to be on the draft today? Lee versus Jachi.
Oh,
So there's 80
fun.
carries going off here. That's cool. They obviously both played, I believe, back in the LDL as well together against each other. So a lot of 80 carry bands coming through, folks.
And most recently, of course, it was on EDG versus RNG Academies as well. So, kind of very historic rivalry there. Probably the historic rivalry in some ways over the length of the LPL. There have been other matchups that have come and gone, but it feels like EDG and RNG has remained over all of these years. And I think, understandably, a couple
True,
key bands. Jachi's, Varus, and Draven, for me, were his two most famous picks. Getting rid of them makes some sense. The Callista is obviously a leave specialty. Corki's just very strong right now. And a Teemo is just a fun one, but it is...
Locking
Leave
it, hang on,
looking at his big
hang
bro,
on,
Kled.
hang on. Did Doonby teach Leave how to play Kled?
That's so good!
Doonby, look at that. Waving off to the side for an Exon versus Kled. We've seen this a few
my
times in 1v1s. I didn't
days.
expect the AD carries to be playing Kled
That's
versus
so
Renekton,
good.
though. Alright, off-roll Kings, let's go.
It's brilliant. I need Doonby just behind him, like, full-on backseat gaming this. Is he allowed to do that? I don't actually know.
No. Some of the players do actually just like crowd behind their teammate as they do some things like that. So this will be our 1v1 as we get ourselves on towards, again, not the Rift, but it will be the
bridge.
Howling Abyss. Yeah. So try and figure out an appropriate volume level to take this to. That'll be
right,
fine. Cool. Tonyon is a type of dumpling usually eaten at specific festivals. It is, yeah. I think it's the Dragon Boat Festival. It's normally eaten at. I can't remember if it's that one. But yes.
I like it. And I also like the fact we got this Renekton v Kled matchup. That's just fun. There's something about the fact that they ban all these AD carries. There's a Teemo and a Rumble in there, don't get me wrong. But then the AD carry players go, no. I have to play these ranged auto-attack people all the time. I'm not doing this anymore.
And then they just go, right, Kled or Renekton.
Big bruiser boys.
Of course, folks, if you haven't tuned in to the LPL for regular split, these 1v1s are for side select. So the winner of this 1v1 will get side select for game 1 for their team. After that point, it will be the loser chooses the side in the best of 5.
Good to know that. And again, it's a fun warm-up. It's a way of choosing side select that feels a lot less random and feels like there's some skill involved. And I really appreciate that. You know, of course, it is a very different skill set. There's still a certain amount of weirdness going on. But it feels a lot better than flipping a coin. And especially when you're in metas where side selection feels like it has an inordinate impact on the chances of you to win a series. How many times have we chatted about blue side being really busted in pro play over the last few years? Could make a huge difference in this.
Yeah, so, of course, with stuff like Kled versus Renekton, you need to be careful of stuff like empowered abilities. The rule of thumb I have for Renekton, particularly early game, is if you have, half of your rage bar is turned red, your next ability is empowered. Empowered abilities for Renekton are about double the strength of a regular ability. And if you think how powerful, regular abilities are, it's pretty good most of the time. Renekton having basically double strength abilities is so nasty. And the biggest thing about his ult is, besides the HP, actually just giving him more of them. I know, Renekton's been seen for a while, but it's just nice to revisit that every so often, because it means in plays like this, you get empowered Qs, and you do a crap ton of damage, and you heal a lot.
Yeah, but then on the other side, Kled has a crocodile trap on a rope. What do you do about that? Huh?
No longer the bear trap on a rope, he's upgraded.
And it's also anti-heal, right? It's grievous wounds, significant grievous wounds into a Renekton that wants to heal. Can't do it, can you anymore?
Once you get the pullback, I believe, you get the anti-heal. So you need to do that, get the pullback, and then means that if the Q comes out after that, obviously a big problem. And if you don't kill the Kled, you guess a remount like this, which is a real pain.
What is Skull?
That's a great question. As far as I'm aware, he's a cowardly lizard, but he's actually indestructible.
Yeah, I knew he was indestructible. You can't kill Skull.
Which also Yordles are too, but I don't think Skull knows that he's indestructible.
Does Heimerdinger know that?
Yordles know that they... Well, okay, Yordles are strange, man. They're just little dudes. They do just technically respawn when you kill them, though. So as much as that... Oh, wait, you haven't... Okay, Sam, have you watched all of Arcane?
No, I've got like two episodes left to go.
Okay, that's fine.
No, because that's the reason I brought it up, is I heard there was some...
I won't be talking about that then. Chatters, you know.
That's fine. No more... No.
I can't believe you just haven't watched it.
Yeah, I think it's because I wanted to make an event of it, and just watching it by myself in my room doesn't feel like an event, It's not arcane enough.
I offered, you turned it down.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, level 6 for both these champions now. Kled, ridiculous early performances. The thing is, so I've got to work with Finn quite closely over in Europe, because he's been on the LEC broadcast. He is like the Kled dude in Europe, and the way he describes his champion is, he only does one thing. He kills you early. Does it very well, but the only thing he does is solo kill you early. So for 1v1s, it does make a lot of sense.
And I think especially into a bruiser matchup like this, like the Renekton just isn't having fun. Like, the fact that you have range where the Renekton doesn't, the fact you can deny a lot of his healing, which he wants off his Q, feels really bad. Actually, any trades you get, if you manage it well, you come right back to a much higher HP total because you can remount.
And stuff like this is just you burning the barrier. It's not great from Jiachi, actually. Leave getting the better of this 1v1 so far. Kled does better in longer trades than the Renekton, because if you get the dismount, there's a chance he just gets an extra HP bar and you get to net the set of abilities. That's something too. Because of course, it's not like, Jace, where he turns into melee form and gets another set of abilities. If you knock him off the horse, he gets another set of abilities. His W shares the same cooldown. And then when you rebalance, he'll get the cooldowns which were refreshing there. So if you play things just wrongly, you don't finish the little Yordle off, he will hit you really hard.
What is that? Is it mutilate is that the name of the one which is like Kled's kind of wacky with his sword thing? Just joust, bear trap on a rope.
I can't remember the W actually. I think it's Vicious Strikes.
Vicious something
maybe.
like that. Yeah, it's the one where he whacks. You can't remember the exact name of it.
Yeah, it was W's nasty as heck though. It's what made him meta for a while because he was so good at just percent HP. He gets once you get Conqueror and that, so much damage.
It's quite a lot. We actually saw a turret win the other day.
Yeah, we've had a couple, not many. I've enjoyed the 1v1s. There was a comment, I mentioned this last time I streamed too, when I was doing it. 2 days ago then, I suppose that would have been. Someone was asking... 3 days ago.
Is it Count Cledula?
I don't think it is Count Cledula, is it?
Oh.
I'm not sure, I don't think so.
I was checking it out.
Yeah. Anyway, there was a comment that said, isn't this just an 8-minute long coin flip? Well, I suppose it is. Black Cleaver completed for Kled, that'll be less of a coin flip now. But basically just saying, well, you know, why are we just not coin flipping to save time? Because it's fun. It's fun, folks. I enjoy 1v1s. I don't think you should do this in playoffs. I think playoffs, the highest seed should get game 1 side select. I think that's fine, and yes. But I think this is a great way to legitimize one of the, you know, the most pure forms of League of Legends. Someone ints you, you argue with someone in solo queue, you say 1v1 me, bro.
Yeah.
You then, you know, you head towards the Howling Abyss, and you sort it out there. It's great to see it legitimized in pro play for the first time.
I could see it in international tournaments where you're split by groups sometimes, or by people who've gotten 2 wins. Then you might want to do it where if you're actually coming in as the same kind of seeding, if you're once you get a sort of bracket reset, you'd be nice to come back to a playing
I do actually agree with that. I think if you're in even seeding state, so semi-finals at Worlds, so you've both qualified from quarterfinals, or something like that. I think quarterfinals and semi-finals and finals. I think 1v1s would make it more quote-unquote fair, because at that point it is a skill-based thing rather than RNG-based thing for side select, which is why I like this. Look, folks, we're just seeing them trading melee for melee, trying to get some extra XP. We're probably getting to ring out territory now. I don't think we're getting 2 clean kills. Leave taking a tower shot, doing some good damage, and that Black Cleaver does mean those extended trades hurt more.
There's also be a question, I feel like, for Jachi about whether he can get back and complete an item of his own, because if he's stuck at this half item mark, it feels pretty miserable. Should have it on this reset. We've seen a few people manage to deny the resets that matter to prevent those items coming on through, which can be really rough in terms of allowing yourself to get into that ring out scenario with a viable amount of HP. We saw a really rough Alistair 1v1 the other day where he didn't get a reset, was stuck at 20% HP, had to try and play with an ultimate on 20% HP, and Jace just whacked him.
Yes. Ring out start coming through. Last back's coming through. So we will have ourselves next kill wins. Don't think turrets are going to decide this. So it is just 1 kill to decide it. Level 2 ultimates for both characters.
The only thing that I will note here is that is an Elixir of Wrath and a Warden's Mail. The Elixir just got popped, and and of course on the other side it's got steel caps, and that's lovely. But I don't know whether it matches Warden's Mail and Elixir of Wrath.
Yeah, the tabby do make a big difference because a lot of Kled's damage is auto-attack. Going to be a long extended trade. Expect those Conquerors to get fully stacked.
Absolutely will do. Big set of Conqueror stacking. We've got Barrier and Ignite available for both sides, but Jachi losing a bit of his HP to begin with. Going to get the healing pot, though, is Leaf. Shrine, I apologize, that's the name of it. And Jachi will not have that ability.
Oh, misses the ult. Misses that, which is going to be a lot of... It's a shield and the damage already gone.
Dominus now comes on through. Barrier is traded, but Jachi gets his own. Looking to keep playing this one out with the Ignite running on both sides. Looking for the dismount. Jachi gets that one, but reminder, Leave can keep auto. I don't think he's going to have it. Needs to get a rebound. Oh, I have it!
1 auto attack off from the remount, but Jachi seals the 1v1. RNG win the side select. And while this is going to be a difficult series in the best of 5, it is nice to see a team that is struggling like RNG get themselves a small W just for now.
I think there's also a point of, like, these are 2 of our AD carries who've had a bit of a troubled journey up to the LPL. Leave did it partly to himself, I think it's fair to say. But on the other side, Jachi's come up, gone down, come back up again. The team wasn't quite known when to get him in. And they're really trying to prove that they are worthy of an extended stay here. And I think for Leave, he was the replacement for Uzi. The guy who was supposed to be here to replace the greatest AD carry of all time to some people. Certainly one of the most famous players of all time. An iconic player who won Person of the Year in China. Not just sports person, just Person of the Year straight up. That's how incredibly popular Uzi was at one point. That is who Leave was coming in to replace, and eyes were all on him. And it didn't go to plan for a variety of reasons. And then Jachi doesn't quite have that level of pressure, but he's also been someone who's kind of gotten through the gate door and then had to go back down again. Gone through the door and gone back down again. And recently had a really good showing at Nest. I think they got third in Nest, did RNG's academy team. That was with Niket and Nayo, those two other players I talked about. Of course, Niket now joining them. And it's a bit of an opportunity, I think, to maybe at least get a game here. Try and find something. Not it's going to be easy, but we'll see how they do.
But and you know, I think we've now said our piece on the RNG side of things. On the other side, the reason why most people will be watching this game is for doing being NIP. I think at least in the international audience. I think it's a little bit different when you've got the legacy RNG fan base, and I'm sure there are obviously many RNG fans out there. But you know, players like this guy on your screen, not not the Fox, like Aki. Oh, it's Milky Way. Is that what is Milky Way? It looks kind of like a fox, is what the sign in the crowd is saying. Did you miss that?
I did.
Yeah.
What was the sign?
It was a picture of Milky Way's face with a fox. Anyway, we're heading into the draft for Game 1. Super Carry Doan be front and center for NIP as they're on the charge. Game 1, of course, still on the dregs of patch 2 of the year. So we don't have the electrocute buffs and a couple of the other domination tree and other things. We'll be finished off the regular season with this as we get some different bans for RNG, actually. A lot of 80 carries left up. That could change a lot.
Getting rid of Aki's Zyra, I think, makes sense. It's the AP jungler he was most comfortable on. The Galio ban implies they want a Rumble first pick, and the Udyr is another one of those potential answers in. The Cassante banned, Rumble is up. You imagine now that has to be the Rumble first pick, because it also means that Shanji never has an opportunity to get it this series, which is a big deal, because for a long time, Shanji was the Rumble guy in LPL, even when it wasn't that meta. Get in the damn robot, Shanji.
Yeah. Yes, we did have Kishanji and then Shanji from OM Genesis Evangelion.
That was so good.
That was great. Anyway, Aurora now picked up, which can, of course, be flexed around the map. RNG banning the Galio to get the Rumble, it does really allow the Rumble a lot more extra space, as you were saying. And we were talking about, in previous days, some win rate percentages looking weird for Rumble because he was only really played into the Galio, which is, of course, technically a counter to him. It's like the only acceptable time where people were allowing Rumble to get picked as, oh, at least we have the Galio. Very different draft now. Nocturne, Rumble, not much CC to go with the Rumble ult, but a lot of ability to go forward and at least put on damage at a similar range.
They certainly have that very large dive combo that's quite hard to disengage from because the Rumble ult is agnostic of things like Braum Shield. The Nocturne will be able to get beyond your front line. And that can be a little difficult then to manage in terms of how do I do a front to back when the front doesn't necessarily keep the back away from me.
Yeah, normally I would be looking at a Vi here for the champions which NIP have on their side of the table, but I don't really think you want to have a Vi or a Viego which will just get instantly burst out by a Corki and a Rumble follow-up damage if Nocturne starts to fly at them. Shinzao at least can pop that ult by a bit of time. I think now RNG really looking for Rel Leona. Those are the two which I really think of right now. Banning away the Orianna as well though, because technically that Corki is a flex between that mid lane and that bot lane. Nocturne, one of those great champions like the Vi, which opens up other champions in the mid lane because they just have to get value out of the combo with Nocturne as opposed to something else.
Okay, well, you've certainly got an ability to get some bruiser stuff down. I think you probably want at least a nice view on NIP right now. Something else that will make Ambassador's job easier in hitting her ultimate. Her having to do all her own stunts makes life a lot trickier because people are quite good at this level and they will dodge away from your ult if they're given an opportunity to. So ways to make it point and click rather than just a skill shot, really, really valuable. That's why often we see the Ambassador locked in with the Vi, with the Xin Sao this time, which again, super valuable, and Aki is very good on that champion, so no real problems there. But we have also now got both of our bot lanes up and waiting for their picks. I think Varus becomes quite high priority here in terms of offering some lockdown for both sides.
Well, I think that the CC supports the ones which I was really looking at because, you know, banning away the Poppy from NIP, I do understand that. Maybe they thought, well, they're going to get one of the Leona or the Rel anyway. We just let them get something a bit heavier on the engage. I'm kind of surprised that goes through though, because a hard CC support is really what completes RNG's comp.
Does, and I'm thinking about splitting up the Xayah from the Rakan, obviously a lot better with the Rakan, just in general, it's a really good pairing, and when you are running a dive comp Xayah, one of the notorious answers into that's kind of just on the edge of meta is Xayah, not necessarily a super high prior, but into the right comp it can be.
Think now, Leave probably looking at a last pick Kai'Sa to follow up with that dive.
That's fair.
And as someone, yeah, as people are mentioning in chat as well, yeah, they're saying, you know, the Renata very good at kind of the anti-dive version of NIP. Rel does come through. Niket, one of his better champions,
Yeah, it is.
too. The thing is, if RNG wants to play aggressive and pick off someone on the side lane, they have the tools to do that now. Leave, as we were saying, likely going towards that Kai'Sa, which will follow up on the full dive. You could have also gone for a Jhin, but of course it's the LPL. We love our Kai'Sa here, and that will be locked in.
Well, the last time we saw Doomby on the Aurora, it was the first game of the last series they were playing, and ended up 2-0 really, really fast. Got to Luden's Shadow Flame and was just chunking out anybody he hit with a Q and an E. It was pretty easy work from there. It felt like NIP got to walk that game over. RNG will be looking for a slightly different style. I think both comps make a fair amount of sense. RNG will be wanting to follow Nocturne up with the Rel and the Rumble ult as fast as you can. On the other side, kind of not got an... Honestly, it's kind of matching fire with fire. The Aurora, the Kai'Sa, the Ambessa, all looking to follow up on your Xin Zhao Ricard.
What I love about this is that all of the lanes are interactive, all of them are fun, and both of these teams have a lot of both aggressive and defensive abilities. You can use the Xin Zhao to buy time, you can use the Disengage of the Xayah to buy time on the other side, but that means that we actually get to see the skill of both these teams. It's not like they're completely lacking in one aspect of the game. It's going to be very free-form League of Legends, folks. It's going to be the interpretive dance of Summoner's Rift, as both teams really look to get one over on the other. NIP really coming in as favourites. Doomby has been an absolute sensation. We were worried it would take him a while to make his comeback very effective. I don't think it's taken that long at all. I've loved watching him play. I've loved watching NIP play. And RNG, while they do have a slim chance to make it out of this group still, it is an uphill battle.
There's our skins getting ready to load onto the Rift. Leave, very famous for his Kai'Sa, and also worth noting, of course, that Jachi, very famous for the Xayah. In terms of win rate, he's only got 2 champions higher, and he's only played 2 games of Draven, which he's 100% on. Caitlyn, which he's 5-1 on. And then it's the Xayah, 20-9 all-time on that champion. By far, his most played to highest win rate champion out there. So those bot laners, which we've been kind of musing on a little bit across that 1v1, very comfortable and very happy with their champions right now.
So, will comfort make the difference?
We'll do. We will need to change Spotify off at some point as well as we head on to the Rift.
I was going to do that, Sam. When we actually get onto the Rift.
Super Barry wasn't sure how to do it
Sam,
secretly.
I'm aware of that, Sam. I could have to do it always that secretly. What I could do is I could actually just control it from my phone.
Genius.
And do that. What I'm trying to do, folks, is not get us copyright struck for stuff. It turns out that's really annoying, and I'm just going to eyeball it as that's the volume. You're getting that as your volume now.
That's great. Came in as the gyro started. Big volume from both teams.
Well, I mean, RNG, they've not had a lot to be happy about so far. However, there is still a hope. They did beat FPX, which I don't know whether I expected that completely. FPX, yeah, no, I think I did, actually. They were close enough that it actually doesn't, either way that works out, it's fine. Quick other thing as well. We do actually see the Comet coming through from Doomby, which is not the Electrocute. The Electrocute next patch should really be the mainstay of that champion. Comet, worth noting, I was talking to a couple of players about this over in Europe. One of the reasons Comets come through on Aurora is that while some of the base damage doesn't match up, the AP scaling on Comet is still the same. So it's not like you can miss out on a ton of damage when you get through into mid and late game. Well, unless they, miss the Comet, because it's a very easy thing to miss.
Nice little crash down initially, so PP God takes a bit of a chunk. Aftershock's timeout.
It's nice.
And of course, honestly, you often saw a lot of Rels want to play around the mount up early and getting bush control, because you get even more CC when you mount up. You are slower, but you get a flip, you pull people back towards you. It's really nasty early on if you get a good Rel combo with that and a Shattering Strike.
I think particularly the annoying thing about the mount up is that if you flash away from it, if you think you're really in danger, it will still flip you back. If the auto attack starts, if it starts, it's going to carry through. Still, you are expecting the Kai'Sa and the Rakan to beat out the Xayah and the Rel in the early loves of the game. They do get the push, and Milky Way is here, and that's the flashback. You flash away, you still get flipped.
Cleanse flash down, Leave has nowhere to go. Unspeakable horror comes on in, and Leave will get first blooded by Milky Way.
I have missed Niket. Just as we mention it, you want to play around the mount up, because if the auto attack starts, just as we said, you still get flipped back. Leave disrespects Niket on his return to the LPL, and it's a good return in at least the 2v2.
It's going to cost Milky Way a little bit here, in the sense, of course, you're seeing the invade on the other side, but Milky Way's already cleaned up the blue side of the map. So, sorry, the blue buff side of NIP. So you get that beautiful little play down towards the bot lane. Didn't have to burn any summoners out in Niket's initial trade with Leave, and you are very, very happy with that.
Yeah, and we'll see whether PP God manages to stop the recall of Jiachi. I don't think they are, but Sam, you were saying this already, you know, LDL bot lane. This was an aggressive bot lane. Jiachi and Niket were the top esports challengers bot lane, which ran the league from that, at least those roles, getting a lot of value. And now Niket going mid. Don't think he can get that much down, but he's going to be a little bit annoying here. Get a stun. Make sure that Doomby has to hop back.
You get the aftershock and get to leave, so Doomby's trade back won't be quite as nice. Does get the wave shoved at least, and Tongan will be able to get a little bit of reset off. Milky Way, though, not quite getting range even with the Duskbringer to keep PP God in range of his fear.
Yeah, Milky Way can't stick around because Aki's going to come down there. So the cost for that bot lane first blood is a double scuttle. That is kind of annoying. Falling behind the Shinzao is not really what you want. Typically, hang on a second.
Why are you still there? Gets to Valkyrie away, but with PP God coming, how aggressive does he want to play that? Decides against anything super spicy.
I'm actually wondering whether that could lead to a kill.
I
because,
know.
The little rings around the feet of the champion, as Aurora hits stuff on you, that's her passive. If you get to 3 stacks on that, she gets a lot of movement speed and healing over time and stuff like that too. So really nasty for extended trades. If you do go towards that, it can give you kind of unexpected long trade potential. Niket knows he doesn't have cleanse.
I think that's trouble for Leaf. He's going to take a lot of damage here. Remember, no flash, no cleanse. They can run at this. They've got summoners to work with. This bot lane on fire.
That's my support go. Niket comes in against NIP, looking like the second best team in the league potentially, and 2v2 kills them twice. Okay, one of them was a 3v2. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself there. Milky Way, though, gets double scuttled, but because his bot lane is winning so hard, they get themselves the Grompo for Milky Way too. You know, folks, we were saying, oh, it's a bit unlikely that RNG really come away with anything. NIP look good. I mean, if it's going to happen, it should start like this.
That is huge stuff. And again, when I was doing my lists of players I thought deserved a shot at LPL, realistically more in 23 than 24. Got a lot harder to cover LDL in 24 because of broadcast stuff, and that was a bit annoying. But at that time, my players I wanted to see up there was Milky Way, who came up and wowed everyone last year. It was Niket who really popped off as well, and there was a couple others. But the fact that both of these players now on this team looking really good fun, I'm really excited to see where they end up. There's still a lot for both of them to learn. They are not perfect players.
Yeah, for sure.
When they can get a little overeager in terms of pushing advantages, they can be a little bit messy when they are behind. But they have got the hands, they've got the raw talent, and this is an exciting start for both of them.
It is, and now we get towards, you know, our objective-based gameplay around the grubs, around the dragon. I do expect NIP to start taking off again now. Yeah, Leave is not going to be particularly powerful on the Kai'Sa. That is a bit of a problem, because your Kai'Sa has a play pattern, which is normally flinging a face into the fray. 3 grubs are going to be started by NIP, though, and this is the kind of thing where I start to, you know, settle down a little bit more. Good 2v2 from RNG. Can they match the map? That's going to be hard against NIP, who have looked so slick through Doonby's leadership doing that.
And it has felt like one of the things that NIP have, as you kind of mentioned there, really looked better than nearly anyone else in the league in, is just those mid-game map choices. Are we looking for a collapse? Are we looking to reassign our lanes? How are we getting there? This is how I'm going to be here. And the team just moves like a watch. There is something very intricate about the map movement. It is very precise. And a lot of teams in the LPL, I feel, at points have been a little remiss in their mid-game map rotations at the minute.
There's a good conversation around this. LPL, the last time that, well, I suppose that's not true because JDG were very good. Typically, when people saw like the era of the LPL and stuff like that, that really started to end, I think, when we changed away from the years that we had Double Herald going in towards grubs.
Yeah.
I think that changed quite viscerally. That's a word. Yeah, that'll work. When we move towards the grubs, because you have to change your entire early game macro plan, which you've practiced around for years to do that. Adapting to new objectives hasn't been the LPL's smoothest spot. Now, grubs, we're still kind of building up our knowledge base on that really as LPL teams. I think obviously T1 looked much better at that than other teams in the world. One of the reasons that they got a World Championship last year. And then I think there's going to be a fight here. Let's shut up. Let's have a fight.
Uak, here we go. 3v3. Paranoia pop. They're going to go jump on Leave. Needs to back away. And at the other side, PP God took a bit of a chunk. And Leave escapes as everyone extracts. Ultimate blown by Milky Way. Doesn't lead to a kill, which could be a bit of a frustrating thing for Nocturnes early. But the blue buff still comes on through. Duskbringer will spot out Aki.
I still think that was pretty good from RNG, because what that means is by all-inning the Kai'Sa, she can't join the dive. She has to escape instead. NIP's still looking for something, though. Don't be very fed, but...
You got a lot of damage, uses the Between Worlds, just about gets out of range, but the Fear still lands damage pretty high at this point. The weirding should allow him to escape.
Yeah, Doinby so powerful at that point, even with just the tier 2 boots. The first ults of the game from Aurora can really turn a fight. RNG, though, managing this game very well in the first 10 minutes. No, NIP, been a little bit sucker punched by a team which does come in, as we've said multiple times today, it's a heavy underdog. RNG, they lose the grubs, but they will get the dragon after a good arm wrestle for it.
Aki going to be going in very blind here and finds Niket, Jachi, and Tanguy waiting for him. Will pop the Crescent Guard. Niket now actually in danger because of that damage. Felt like a good pick off onto Aki, but the damage all outside of the Crescent Guard makes it a bit tricky. They'll still get the dragon off this, but it comes at the cost of the support.
Folks, you are still playing into an early game Shinsa. Are we fighting again? Ooh. Everyone, collective intake of breath there as the recall does come off, but what are the implications of this? Gold advantage gone to about even. Leave flashed for a kill on that last play, which means that even though Leave did die twice in that laning phase, has still got access to farms, had some solo XP, which means he's not behind in that either. The dopamine from the early game went to RNG. You can see, though, it's not enough to see out a game just having that.
And I think Milky Way, having gone for a fair number of plays, still ended up dropping 2-3 camps as a result of it. And it's kept the Shinsa within touching distance, and that has been valuable. And everywhere else, the laning's been fine, right, from NIP. So it's ended up with a relatively even start to the game. Grubs and Dragons traded as well. So actually, despite early good looks, you're right, there isn't really a notable lead here. It's 200 gold, of course, if that. That's not exactly significant.
Grubs and Dragons is the failed prototype to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Grubs just weren't quite
Critical
exciting.
Role just wouldn't have been the same with Grubs and Dragons. I just don't feel it.
Right, Sean, the Elder Grub.
The thing is, I don't actually know that much about actual D&D lore. I just use D&D as a rulebook to play my own settings in most of the time. I always prefer playing homebrew.
Did I tell you about my really cool idea for one?
Sam, you've yapped so much about D&D.
It's very
Look,
true.
I know grubs are happening. There might be a fight. But please also tell me about that idea when we actually have time.
Yeah, I know. Like, do I have time? Is NIP coming to contest?
Flash has ult. There's a chance he can look for a play here. He's on vision, though.
RNG have been very willing to play around these bush baits. They've caught NIP out once or twice with them. They get the grubs. Nice little
Sam,
trade that.
D&D idea. Now is the time. Tell me.
So, obviously, one of the little requirements for Resurrection in D&D is you have to have a diamond of a certain value.
Yes.
And so my thinking was, one of the ways to make Resurrection harder is make diamonds basically a national level resource. Like, who controls the diamond mines controls the world,
Sam,
basically.
that reminds me of the Mistborn trilogy.
Bit of that, yeah.
So for those of you who watch Mistborn, it's magic based on metal, so everyone controls the metal, so you can magic cast. Anyway,
so Metallica, very strong. Megadeth less so.
Oh, yeah,
Bring Me the Horizon,
yeah.
new metal that's come up and people have been very excited for it.
Everything changed where we had like
the metal coordination attacked.
All of like the fusion genres making metal out of something else. You know,
it's just
the great wizards of Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park really changed everything with new metal. As you might see ourselves a new dive on top side. Shanji trying to clear the wave.
Ooh, damage onto PP God, who flashes away, but the follow-up is good. Wait, the battle dances! Make it a 1-for-1.
Shanji plays that so well with PP God. PP God has had such a good glow up in the split. Tonyuan even feeling the need to flash away from it. See that RNG, the idea is not bad there. Go for the dive, they had the numbers, but the outplay from NIP shows you exactly how much raw muscle their players bring to the table.
Double battle dance plus a flash meant PP God went flying across the screen. And again, you summon a teleport, not that clean.
This is fantastic because Shanji immediately says, right, get me the wave. We might not get kills, but we'll get something else. Dashes around like everything else. Dash forwards. And this is huge because you see the battle dance, the public execution, giving another dance away from the carries which he wanted to escape from. The last auto attack comes through, but it being a 1-for-1 on RNG's play, really good thing for NIP.
And I see why Tanguy for the need to flash there, because if Doinby hadn't failed that the hop over the wall, there would have been an invisible Aurora about a step behind you that gets to press R.
So, folks, we talked about D&D quite a lot. We actually have a prospective campaign coming up. You know what's holding that up?
Oh yeah,
Sam
sorry.
Sam's meant to have had a character sheet months ago.
It's
He's
true.
actually
I'm
not used
genuinely
that
the worst.
yet. So Sam.
I'm being publicly shamed.
Yeah, his intelligence score
Is rapidly decreasing. Yeah,
But
might be a
potentially-
wisdom score.
Potentially, you might need to make a dex save here as Niket. He does, and he manages to use an athletics check to get over the wall on the rail crash down.
Is that an athletics or an acrobatics check?
I think
Or
that's
is it animal
athletics.
handling?
Look,
He's on
Sam,
a horse.
You are jumping with a metal steed across.
Yeah, but is that
a
not animal
10-foot
handling?
wall. Sam, I'm not sure it counts as an animal. It's a technically it'd be a mount, yeah. But
Okay, I feel like mounts are still animals.
I haven't thought about that one enough. For the purposes of League of Legends, it is the same character and therefore shares a character sheet. Because technically it's a mobile suit of armor, I guess, for her.
It is.
And she's controlling with magic.
That is quite cool. Ferromancy.
Cool
So the reason like her W crashed down and mounted was actually Ferromancy semicolon or colon, and then crashed
Oh
down
yeah,
and mounted.
Ferromancy mounted, Ferromancy crash down. That's very true. Yeah, it's one of the things which caught out people in one of the pop quizzes on LEC. It's like, oh, is it? Oh, it's mount up. No, it's Ferromancy mount up. That's just not fair. I miss pop quiz. Well, okay, there is a pop quiz still technically, but I miss Chakrez's version.
You're
That's very
really smug about the fact
I
you're
am.
the only caster
Yeah.
winner of that.
It was pretty good. Anyway, fight around the dragon. NIP reached their first RNG work, focused more on top side. Are we looking for a steal?
Milky Way's got. Oh, we've seen a few steals from that angle of late. Shun out there, suddenly waking up in a cold sweat.
Yeah, Shun Smikey wasn't exactly the best connected to the keyboard recently. So, let's take a quick step in. Look, we've been having some fun for game 1 of the best of 5. What are the things which actually matter right now? So, it's not Black Cleaver or something like that on the Shinzao, because it's a bit less of a tanky team going towards the tanky build on the Shinzao with the Sundered Sky. Hexblade for the Nocturne means that you can play heavier around side lane plays because you get more ultimates available. It's less team fight 5v5 than the Stride Breaker. And of course, we're getting towards first items for our big carries as well. Shiv and Pickaxe will give you the Q upgrade, great wave clip. Do you potentially have a teleport coming in though? That's mainly just to protect on that tower coming through though. Leave is strong.
So is Jachi though, who feels the moment to step forward. Has a barrier, gets a flash out of the Kai'Sa. Where's the paranoia? Not quite in range till now! Flash away, just about keeps Leave safe.
Close run stuff. I think the flash away from Leave means that Milky Way can't get there in time, and now Jachi's left out
that's
to dry.
So frustrating. Milky Way's going to fall as well. And they can't quite secure the kill. It looked genius for a second from RNG. Instead, NIP end up with 2. They'll get the mid lane tier 1. And the counter punch is a knockout blow.
The story of this game has been RNG making good proactive moves, but NIP being the better mechanical players. They outplay in the top lane dive, they outplay in mid lane. The flash away from Leave to buy the extra range is really important. I'm sure we'll see in the replay. First level Nocturne ult is only really about the same range as about a Nidalee Spear and a bit more. It's not that long range. We'll go back to this now and you can see that. Okay, well this teleport's going about the place. Where's the Nocturne? Walking up here, walks over Vision, and you can see that Leave, yes, losing the trade, but flashes away Yester on the route, but it denies Nocturne a lot of ability to get into the play, just about escapes, mastering the distances, and then of course Milky Way and Jachi are overextended.
And the roamers come on down. Shanji's on one side, PP's on the other. And it is a bad day to meet God there. 2 people go down. Swift order, and now we're in a position where NIP have a notable gold lead. Because it did feel like, yes, RNG had been more proactive, but the gold lead hadn't really turned up.
There's a good clarification in chat actually from Schmitty. Yes, so with Kai'Sa's Q upgrades, things have gotten a bit weird with recent patches because her first items have lost some AD over time. So right now, to get first item, you need to get Shiv, Pickaxe, Doran's Blade, and level 10, I believe. So it's not the cleanest level 10, cleanest Q power spike before when you could just go, oh, like double Pickaxe and a BF sword or something like that. It does get a bit weird around the place. Of course, when you've got Rage, if you go Rage Blades, Nash's Tooth, that's a very clean W upgrade, so that's always been fine. But it is always good to note that the reason why it's not as important right now, though, for Kai'Sa is that Shiv gives you the wave clear that you would miss out from Q upgrade, and gives you some good burst damage too.
And we saw Starry just yesterday go for the Krakasei Collector build. Went for a really all-in dive build.
I have seen this version before where you go towards Shiv Essence Reaver and gives you more cooldown reduction because the Essence Reaver gives you some of that as
find
base.
ability haste now, Alex.
I do not care, Sam. I grew up. I'm too old to change my ways, Sam. Don't you dare try and change my ways. But yeah, this allows you some really good W poke builds without going towards 0 auto attack damage.
That's the plan. Of course, a lot of mana as well with the Essence Reaver is quite valuable for just spamming through those abilities, because Essence Reaver allows you to get off more abilities without having to reset, which is very lovely on Kai'Sa, who is a bit of a caster in her own way.
Oh, I can relate. Anyway, got ourselves potentially a fight towards the top side. NIP. NIP really important now that they took that mid lane out of turret. RNG not able to hold on to that, which is a problem against dive versus dive. Herald summon top side. Tony needs to be careful. Really does not want to be eating random bits of damage like that.
He loses a bit himself, but again, that's a Shin's out with a Sundered Sky and a Crescent Guard. Not the easiest. Niket jumps on the other side, though. Big engage. The quickness comes on through, but the Equalizer after not quite in range. Milky Way got on to lead. But again, the confirmation of the kills doesn't come on through. The Between Worlds is poor from Doinb, who went for a flash to make that one happen, and both teams walk away. Though NIP did get a turret, and the production knows what's going on.
I mean, Doonby's super carrying his bags to the airport at this point. What was that, buddy? What was that? Flash first, you fool! I mean, I saw the angle. If you get that clumped up 4-man
would have
ult,
been beautiful.
that is game over, man. Game over. Couldn't quite do it. Look, it looked kind of bad. The next time that actually works out, though, it's not going to be a laughing matter.
Doinb is fighting his inner demons. That's what's going on there. How dare this part of the map?
He's just turned on Bring Me the Horizon. I can't drown my demons. They know how to swim. Flashes into nothing.
Out of the river as well, trying to get out of the place where he's trying. Let's have a look at this again, because it starts off with Niket jumping on the bot lane.
It does, and you can see that the team is split up from NIP. They don't have the Shinzai in the middle of things, and that's why it's really important that Shanji manages to get a good amount of damage without taking that much in return. It is so close to actually being a fantastic play there. Because if he does get the ult damage and the slow on top of it, he will get a range for the combo. I think once the ult misses, though, he doesn't switch to plan B. He just goes, yes, I'm still going.
And now, of course, you burn double summoners on the Rakan, which can be pretty rough. Rakan really values the flash. Leave burned the cleanse. You got the flash of Doinb. If you've now got another Nocturne combo with a flash rel ult, this dragon fight feels a lot more playable because they have got carries who aren't going to escape quite as freely, you feel.
So, RNG, this is not been the easiest game for them. The rel has helped in terms of locking down some of their targets that they want to do, but you can just see that they're slower and slower towards these objectives. And while the 2v2 looked really good for RNG, NIP have been better at escaping these objectives by far, as you see. Support combat. Look, I'm glad seeing Niket back. I think he's had a good game so far. I really like this guy. I think he has a lot of potential for someone who had his rookie year last year. I think he's developing very well as a player. PP got on the other side. He's had a bit of a different development this year. He was typically the shot caller on his previous teams. Now, because you have Doinb, you don't have to be that. And it's been a big Chinese community sentiment. How good is PP God when you don't have a shot caller for him? We know this guy can be fantastic. We've seen him on some top tier teams before in brief spurts, really. The fact that he now can just focus on the mechanical play and just follow in the call of the team has really revolutionized what this guy can play like.
And the narrative I was kind of starting up and beginning to chat about a little bit earlier in the week, right? When we saw that insane Rise game and stuff from Doinb, it was like, look, you've got this returning superstar in Doinb, but how good was he going to be? And then you're looking at Shanji and Aki, who in OMG in 2023 looked white hot. They looked really, really good. They were playing their style with cream in the mid lane, and it was all about melee, carry top sides of the map. How exciting will this be when they join a real team? And then 2024 happened, and both of them looked mediocre. Yeah. And then you look at Leave, who had his shot at the big time and fumbled it. You look at PP.
Leave was set up to be Uzi's success.
Exactly.
He was set up to be the next guy. Niket was trying to look for a flank, was spotted out. Gets out safely for now.
Spotted out in that recall. We'll get out. Probably cost the tier 1 down bot lane. And this is starting to be a bit problematic as NIP now with all the outer turrets into a Nocturne is a bit frustrating.
And another thing which is really going to be hurting this too, just quickly highlight it. We do have a poke build coming in from Leave, as we said, which does involve the Sorkpan boots. Really good straight up bursts. And yeah, RNG now don't have the flash on their engaged support.
That's a Khan down to 5k. NIP backing away now. The teleports come on through. Fighting Rumble around this point could be pretty miserable. Shanji on a deep flank, currently unspotted, but everyone backs away. Happy enough with the teleport they earned.
I think you can see that NIP can really play around a lot of range. Unless Nocturne is... Hang on a second, as that's the W landing again.
Oh my God!
Trying to stop the resets.
Shattering Strike comes on through. Might be a mount up available, but the flash on him with a bit of a quickness buys some time.
That is punishing with vision so well. Take away the flash and the rel, take away the engaged threat, and suddenly NIP get themselves a free Atakan.
Back we go. Infinity Edge was just picked up by Jackie. They wanted to be able to play around some of these spikes. You have still got Equalizer and Paranoia. You can force a lot of damage with the resists being shredded. Big damage onto PP God. Paranoia pops. Waiting for an angle, but Shanji being attacked. Run away as the perfect execution comes on down, but he's 1v4 and flashes on out. And now actually RNG can turn to Atakan with the top laner not there.
Oh, it's been a real vision battle. The first vision war was kind of won by NIP, getting that kill onto Niket and forcing the flash beforehand, but they lose the follow-up, and now it means that RNG could go towards this. Dumby has a lot of damage, but it's not enough right now.
Yeah, and you remember your double AD carries here. Atki's around. This could end up being a smite fight. He's got the control. Wind becomes lightning. Pop goes in, but it's Chachu secures it. They've got enough burst. Atki flashes on out. You lose 1 to the withdrawal, but that's about it. Everyone else is come on back on over. Go on, take you in, my son. That's it. Pick off that shit out, PP God. Looking a little bit flaccid as he needs to back away, feeling a little bit worse for wear.
Go on, RNG, get some objectives. Restrain myself briefly. RNG somehow went out around the Atakan. It looked like a great series of plays for NIP at first. So what really changes here? Well, it's Milky Way getting this this side kind of play here, and because the Nocturne ult comes down, you can't even engage into that brush. You don't have the vision because Nocturne denies it. And the whole team backs off and just realizes, look, the Ambassador is dead. We can't do anything about that. RNG, new lease on life, within touching distance of gold. Good items on Jachi, even though he's 1,000 gold behind. And NIP, they will have to reassess things now. They are reaching some good items. The Poke build of the Kaiser are about to reach a Shadow Flame, which is nasty as hell. The W upgrade will be hit with 1 item from that. But they're going to have to rely on that now. They are not just ahead in the map. The Atakan will give RNG a lot more safety.
It will at that. Of course, the other side of this is you're looking at Atakan, oh, it's a flip. And it kind of was, but you're still doing it with double AD carries and a lot of feathers. They get pulled at the same time as someone saying go on smite. Is a pretty weighted toss because you actually got quite a lot of burst to secure that. It's not just a smite v smite.
Okay, is it time for another check-in? I think it is. So, 2 dragons to NIP. I'm doing good, Sam. You know, it's nice to shout at video games in a fairly unconstructed manner, which tends to be my own streams, really. Happens quite a lot. Yeah, we do. Niket doesn't have flash, does have ult in a few seconds. Could hex flash over. Look, this is the time to do it. You have the Atakan if you want to.
Oh.
Look, if that wave had survived a couple of seconds longer, Niket probably would have just hex flashed in with that anyway. Either way, the Atakan, not something that NIP really want to face up into. It does mean that the dragon will now be taken by RNG. 2 dragons apiece, 3 grubs apiece. Feats the strength over to RNG, but a slight gold advantage to NIP. This is even game in terms of the resources available.
And now we start to have to ask the questions about, okay, even state in mid-game, now going on late as we're getting towards 2.5 items, not just 2.
Hang on, Tony was going to get jumped onto. Didn't even lose that kind of the last play.
Can start trading this one around pretty well. Does a lot of damage back. We'll probably have that withdrawal pop. PP God waiting for it. Oh my days, the turnaround is huge. They finally get him down and they time out the buff. Now Jachi in danger, but the health pass on this side is desperately low. Milky Way in the back, I can't secure the kill. Flashes away. Equalizer slow is awesome. They have to flash to get it from Leave. As Jachi gonna get vulnerable, but the Q goes wide. Can't find it. Doomby goes gone. He's now on the barbecue though. Goes down.
Doomby can't quite get himself the monster play he wanted. Leave.
Cursive Q! And Leave gets another. That's actually valuable.
It really is. NIP, they fumble a little bit on the first play, trying to take down the Corki, but then they can't finish it off. He had the Atakan anyway.
No, they waited it out. That's why they didn't kill him to begin with. So they were just timing out the buff.
Okay, yeah. Well, that meant that they stayed a little bit too long. Yeah, Leaf has Shadow Flame now. Worth noting, that means that his passive will crit when it gets below a certain amount of HP, which is nasty as hell. This Shadow Flame build, really good assassination. You can see that they almost take him down. I think that they actually were looking for the kill. I think that they were trying to look for a quick freebie, and they didn't want to do it after that. Yes, they re-engage once they know it's down there, but they've already committed at that point. They go, well, let's just see what we can get. Milky Way, of course, doesn't have the Atakan at this point. That was a little bit less wise.
Oh,
She actually messed it up slightly. I think he E's then flashes. You can E start up the animation, then flash, but he flashes a little bit late, which means the E comes out from where he started, not from where he ended up. Couldn't quite get that onto Leave. As we said, this build on Kai'Sa is kind of nuts. You can see that it does a ton of damage. The Shiv definitely helping out with that. He's going towards a Void Staff after this too, which is really nice because, look, most of Kai'Sa's kit is magic damage in terms of the passive and the W, which means that each of your auto attacks is doing a significant amount of magic damage. Your passive critting on people below a certain amount of HP, nasty attack, NIP starting the Baron.
We've got a Paranoia. It's always going to be hard to keep a Nocturne out of the pit, but it's down to 9k. Looking to potentially turn this. Niket was chunked pretty low, though. The problem is this Rel is just not tanky into all of the damage. Now, the scaling is brutal. All the while, though, telling you what, it's not there. Shoving up on the tier 2. They say, we can't get in. We'll trade on the rest of the map.
Yeah, I love this Kai'Sa build. This Kai'Sa build has been annoying as hell. You still get to have your early game wave clear with the Shiv and your Q upgrade. Once you get towards this point, though, your W's hit like a truck. Leave has been playing very well outside of a rough laning phase.
And it was a rough laning phase, because the level 2 all-in cost them both summons. In another world, that Kai'Sa never gets to play the game again.
Yeah.
And does actually come out to being really valuable now. And yeah, you've still got 3 item AD carries on the other side. You've still got a 2.5 item Rumble, who is increasingly scary for this team. But the profile has changed a bit. NIP can now play poke, can now play from quite a significant range with this Kai'Sa, even with this Aurora.
When you say the profiles change, I'm just thinking like NIP's social media. Maybe they have a LinkedIn. I just completed a course in poke, so now I can use this as my working skills. And then everyone
is how I relate to this poetry. Please hire me to be your CEO at this random company.
LinkedIn it's not okay, folks.
Watch me cry as I fire random members of mine.
I'm so sad that I had to end someone's livelihood. Yeah. That got quite grim quite quickly. Yeah. Well, I mean,
LinkedIn is a weird place.
It is. Now, the thing is, NIP, they do have serious advantage in terms of range now, because, and of course they have the Baron buff, which is going to make the gold even more. What is the win condition for RNG? Well, a good enough equalizer can very much help. There isn't that much tank on the side of NIP. You're not going to be able to pin people into it that easily. I think big enough wombo combo from Niket, Milky Way, Xiaoshu should do the deal. I just don't think you can force the ideal scenario so easily.
I feel like the moment Leave gets arm guard, it gets harder, because then between Flash, between Supercharge, between Ult, between PP God coming to save his head with a Locket as well, getting a hold of Leave with a, would I suspect be something like an arm guard fourth, would be very tricky to manage.
Also, I completely flipped. Hang on, there might be a fight. We'll see this. The Equalizer comes in.
Going top lane with it and forces the disengage in mid. Public execution comes on down, but the fear is still there, courtesy of the Nightmare, continuing to charge on forwards, but Shanji flashes away.
Shanji, really good disengage play, very similar to how we play out the Kasante. And now the problem is, Milky Way has been left alone. The PP God has found you wanting.
Nice little spell shield, though, into the fear, and he gets away. Burn, not quite there. Flash, and Leaf goes in, but he's stuck onto the turret with a massive magnet storm. Leaf will go down, and they get 2 back. Bot lane falls.
Oh God, maybe I take it back about the PP God finding you wanting. The PP God didn't find you at all in the first place. We're getting into a bit Clown Fiesta territory. As we were saying earlier, typically it was RNG making the aggressive plays, but NIP outplaying. Kind of flips the script at the end of that play. However, NIP still get themselves the dragon that will get them up to Soul Point, but RNG still walk away with more from that play than they had any right to believe they could get.
And of course, still got 20-odd seconds on Leave being here. They can't quite secure this mid-tier 1 still.
Dude, this is such a deeply unserious game.
It is.
I've used that a lot recently because Anyone's Legend, I think recently, they'd already locked playoffs. They thought, whatever, it'll be fine. I think it was versus WE, was it?
That at least sport was not it.
It was not it. It was quite distressing to watch, actually. But RNG, you can tell that they are really turning up their A game. I'm really glad that the Nikets come in. It gives them a lot of dynamic playmaking, and I'm aware that Lula did actually have some very good plays on the Alistar in a couple of games, but Niket's just kind of close to my heart. PP God doesn't cast his ult, so he doesn't get to blow the spell shield, and then doesn't hit the WE, though, which doesn't particularly help. Good damage from Aurora, but it's just not quite there again. It means that you have to overextend. It's a good punish from Niket. Niket gets a really good play onto the overengage of NIP, exactly what you want to see there. And real credit to Jachi as well, using the Zyre aggressively. He's going up towards 4 items now, and while Leave has been the main character of this game, I think it's fair to say, Jachi is not being sidelined too heavily. If a good enough fight comes his way, Jachi can carry.
And again, 20-9 all-time on that champion. Again, a lot of that's down in LDL, where you play a lot of games. It's not the same level. We know this. However, what it says is...
W poke is nasty as hell, man.
Top cooldown again. That one goes wide.
Yeah. You can see, I think Leave, I think he'll be going either Horizon Focus or... Well, with the Phoenix Codex, it's either Phoenix Codex... Yeah, it's either Finish Codex or Finish Codex. It'll either be Cosmic Drive or it'll be towards the Horizon Focus. Cosmic Drive, of course, gives you more cooldown reduction, but the Horizon Focus is so nasty with the percent increased damage. And as we were saying before, so much of Kai'Sa's damage is in base damage of magic damage that just the flat pen of the Shadow Flame and the Void Staff as well does so much work. I think it was actually Crowny that was championing, even on regular Kai'Sa builds, go Void Staff forth, because you don't need AP scaling, you need the pen, because it just affects so many of your other AD scaling damage.
Yeah, makes a massive, massive deal. And the fact you can crit on that pass you're saying as well, just making sure that even when you crit, that crit hits even harder. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you get someone below half HP, they're dead. They're dead at that point. Very few ways you can outplay that. Of course, the shotgun combo is really fun, where you hit someone with plasma and then you charge up your W animation, press your R to just fire it out point blank. That is an instant kill from this Kai'Sa build.
Little note on Xiaoshu's build there on the Rumble as well. Been sat on this arm guard for a while, but it basically, because he's not popped, he said, well, I can just get towards a Crit Bloom. And ability haste on Rumble feels good. Little bit more pen, also just great.
Yeah, it's much harder to play sit on Stopwatch than it was when Stopwatch was, what, 600 and then 750 gold. Arm guard is 1600 gold. It's a lot to invest for this, but yeah, it still means that you're not spending the extra 1500 gold or whatever it is. Actually, it's a little bit more than that, because it's a 3000 gold item, I think it is.
It's 200 for completion, I believe.
200 completion. Oh, it's just 1400. Yeah. It's 1200 for the Initialise rod and that. But yeah, it's still gold, which is really important right now, because you need to be dealing efficient damage.
That ward, giving a lot of value off to leave. And again, this Kai'Sa is now public enemy #1. Yes, the Aurora is scary. 3.5 items will be a problem. However, if this Kai'Sa does not die, RNG cannot win an extended fight. It is so tricky. And the range discrepancy at this point, the Xayah notoriously not that long range as an AD carry.
And it's one of the reasons why there were some compositions where we had like a Zir Xayah, where we had Xerath picked in to try and counter it. The vision control from NIP and the range of the Kai'Sa doing so much work. Kai'Sa is the main character now. Even though it's one character which outranges RNG, that's enough because that character is Kai'Sa.
When's the next dragon spawning? A minute. It'd be Soul for NIP. You know what sounds even worse? Infernal Soul Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I don't think that's particularly easy to come back from. Milky Way trying to hold this brush. They don't know these wards are here, though. The deep ward giving an extra HP bar and some longevity to those wards. Really important here, actually, because if you only get one chance to put wards down, if they last longer, it really helps. And you're playing bullet hell. There's only so many shots you can dodge. They've dodged pretty well, but each one that hits is a significant chunk gone.
20% of Tenguen's HP just went. That's another half. He needs to back away.
Ah, jeez, it's so hard. Leave just needs to hit 1 or 2 more, and then he can start flying in with his ultimate. If that one hit, I wonder if that would have been the fight start. RNG, they are playing Dance Dance Revolution, and they've got 2 left feet right now.
Tenguen's going to have to reset and look for a teleport, I think, is probably it. Niket on a flank angle, though.
This could be it. This could be it. He has flash. He goes on to Doombi!
Doombi's in danger. Will go golden, but how much further can he go? He's got flash, uses it. The turnaround now comes on throw. Aki, Crescent Guard in, wait for Jachi to try and get some value down. Trying to heal up as best they can. The locket is decent, but the damage just wasn't there. Some tools used on both sides. Aki and Doombi.
They just play it's fish in a barrel.
But they are trying to play it out as PP got battle dances away. Doombi gets a massive weirding alongside the double fold. Hex. Aki back on in. Jachi goes up into the sky. Big pullback. Gets some more value. But look at Leave. Still untouched. Goes into the backside and crits them down. The flames are full of shadows. And Leave murders them all.
Leave none alive. NIP's main character in their ADC comes away with a 5,000 damage team fight. RNG could not dodge enough skill shots, and eventually they missed a step in the dance. They have fought valiantly, they have fought well, but I think this fight will be the one which determines the game. That will be Baron, it will likely be reset into the Dragon. NIP have clutched out the most important fight of the game. Before this, just all of this damage being taken down so far. That's just Kai'Sa W's in bits and pieces. You can't dodge everything for forever. Doombi just goes in for the one shot. This disengage isn't that bad. It's a good feather pullback, but the Kai'Sa W lands onto Jachi, and you just load up for the crit passive. It is not fair playing as Shadow Flame Kai'Sa when you're below a certain amount of HP. Leave does the work.
And that's why I saw this pick on the Doombi, but he had flash, he had Zhonya's, he had ult. How realistic was it you were going to pop him there? And then, if you do not kill this Kai'Sa that now has a Death Cat last item, you cannot win a plat fight. That Kai'Sa is unreal strong. You've got a Maw of Malmortius and a Vamp Scepter on Jachi to try and survive and sustain through these fights. I just don't know how realistic it is.
It's so hard to play late game Kai'Sa versus Xayah. Now, in the past, in the release season of Kai'Sa, when we had the Xayah Kai'Sa meta, you know, you could see Xayah outplaying, because you could stand behind a front line. There's no real front line to do that with here. It's very, very hard. And while, you know, oh my god, half HP through a more mortars, that would have killed if that hit.
That is unreal. This Xayah cannot play the game. It's not even like they're that far behind. It's a single level.
This is not okay. This is why this build has been building up in terms of solo queue. Milky Way gets the fear. But what else are you meant to do here as RNG? You are clutching at straws. It's much harder than finding a needle in a haystack.
God. Oh, my days, Niket down to half HP. Don't overplay it. W lands. Won't pull the trigger.
It is so difficult. Now, a lot of people will criticize Milky Way and Niket for it, for this kind of game, because they have to push the envelope and they have to put themselves into fog of war and into dangerous territory looking for that one godlike angle. If you misstep, if you lose the mind game and you get caught out on the flank, or if Niket has to position too far forward and goes down, that's tough luck. It's tough luck. This is the game that you're in right now. I much prefer this than sitting quietly to die to Kai'Sa W's, but it doesn't look pretty. And now Aliv has also done the correct thing, upgraded his boots last, which is even more magic pen. You get an extra, what, 4% magic pen?
And flat pen as well.
And some flat pen on top of it. It is absolutely disgusting, the value which this Kai'Sa has. This is, yeah, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
Kai'Sa was put behind early. Didn't actually fall behind that much though, did they? And Milky Way will tank up that W at the very least.
Infernal Soul and everything. Look, there is no tank which can stand in front of this. Even if there was a tank, they wouldn't want to stand in front of this. The only way NIP lose now is if Leave overplays and somehow just randomly gets caught. It's so hard to, though, because he's never in range to get caught.
Miles and miles and miles away, and again, he doesn't have flash, so he knows what his job is, and that's press W. Everything else is a bonus.
That's through. That is through. Your
Shield,
the Ferromancer Shield and the Celestial Opposition as well, the % damage reduction.
It's got an Elixir of Iron.
This game is so unplayable. It is just ban down the hatches, hope you can outplay around an Elder. I mean, I don't actually think... I think the correct choice for NIP here is not go towards Elder. You just keep throwing Ws out. Eventually, they'll hit enough and they'll lose. That is the 100% tutorial win condition. Niket's trying to find a pick.
Decent job on a PP God, but gets on out. Costs very little on the other side. The turnaround comes through attacking when it's been jumped. Shanji, GA will likely fall here regardless, as the Valkyrie out means that is a Corki that's running away. As Shanji continues to dash, but Drakehound steps into the grave.
Oh, but Leave can go in.
Lord, Aki goes on forwards. Leave is yet to press. Jachi also hit. Where's the re-engage? The Feather Pull is decent. Looking to get on to Leave. The Equalizer after gets a large amount of damage, but there's a locket and 2B and Leave. Blow him up. Oh, there's nothing weird about it. It's just straight horror show.
It is just not fair. The artillery won't stop.
Jachi, gonna try and play this one out. He's got the double carries to play around. Desperately needs to kill them both. Want to clear the wave he's got. But the Vamps have to flash for the weirding. The W goes wide. Cleanse needed to burn. Wait, where is Milky Way? Can't quite get it. Dustbringer's not there, and a valiant effort. But it's a Jachi G. NIP win the game in a late game Kai'Sa scenario. That build has got to be a war crime.
NIP walk away, carried by their AD carry. Leave has had a bit of a patchy past within the LPL, but this one was absolutely classic. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Nymaera. This is Initialise. We're brothers, and we cast the LPL together. We hope you're enjoying yourselves here, as we definitely are. Watching, a crime against Summoner's Rift as Leave just brings out all of the firepower that he can. This build has been picking up some popularity within solo queue. You understand why. You reach late game, the game is unplayable if you outrange.
And I think on the other side, for RNG, that was not a walkover. NIP looked cleaner in their series earlier in the week. Last week, I suppose it was on the weekend. And you compare that to this game, and you go, actually, RNG made them work for it. There were points there where they could have taken significant leads. I think they will be frustrated that they didn't get rid of that mid-tier one. They're going to be frustrated that they didn't capitalize on making Kai'Sa blow a lot of her summoners repeatedly, and that actually the engages were often slipped out of when it mattered in that mid-game, where it felt like the Xayah and the Nocturne were at their points of strength, really.
So, game one, much better showing from RNG than I think a lot of people would have given them credit for. I think the early 2v2 was great. Serious credit, though, to the quality of NIP to just say, batten down the hatches for the early game. We'll get ourselves towards the objectives. We are better at playing the map. This will be fine.
Yeah.
I think that is that is the difference between a top tier team and a mid or bottom table team in the LPL. The top tier table teams know that they can play the map better, and they know that regardless of what happens in the early game bumps and problems,
they have ways back in.
You have ways back in, especially when they understand their comps well. Look, Durnby didn't even play particularly well this game.
No,
I think Shanji did. Shanji played very well at escaping a couple of really clutch scenarios on the Ambassador. If this enters like his top tier active champion pool, that's great for the meta right now.
It feels like a kind of champion he would enjoy, because obviously it's not miles off something like the Cassante, where you have got those abilities to move around the back end of a team fight, move around a dive in quite a scary way. I will say, getting caught out on that extended flank around Atakan could have been disastrous if that Atakan had been more valuable. It wasn't, but you saw how it could have all gone wrong.
Oh, well, currently actually T1's on, so I'm gonna watch that on my phone in the background.
I saw how game 1 went. Carrier missed a lot of bone skewers.
It's looking like a really hype series.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping it would be a 3-0 so more people can watch LPL, but also I just want to see a really cool game. And post-game stats, Leaf did unspeakable things, over 1,000 damage a minute in a 41-minute game.
Whew.
Yeah, that's nasty.
It wasn't really about the junglers, aside from them being the ones who say we're going now. I think the other person I've got to call out, Xiao Xu, got a lot of gold on that Rumble. Only doing 1,100 damage on Rumble is not good. You're doing half the damage of an Ambassador. That cannot happen.
Yeah, I think a good enough equalizer could have saved the game, and sadly it didn't. Wait, hang on a second. We have a... Wait, hang on. Kerry's playing LeBlanc support?
What?
Huh?
Kerry? My goat?
Kerry's playing LeBlanc support. Faith
Is he doing
playing Mel mid. I saw the draft. I was like, oh, it's a Mel support. No, it's LeBlanc. That's fantastic.
I think
that's great.
Phenomenal.
That's great.
And you've got Faker on your team, arguably the most famous LeBlanc of all time.
Wait, hang on. But the funny thing is, Kerry's actually using Rookie's skin, not Faker's.
No, that's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
It is a really good skin in fairness.
Yeah. Anyway, highlights of the game. Oh, this was such a good play. Look, Leave had a fantastic
coffee.
You got yes, please. Yes, please. I'd love one.
How do you want your coffee?
I don't know. Make it up as you go along.
Do you want Americano or a latte?
Americano's fine. Yeah. Even though the Italians do call it dirty water, it's fine.
The Italians can deal with it. They're not here. Is Harold in chat? He might actually be.
He was earlier, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, LeBlanc, that's fantastic. I will have to VOD view this series. This shit looks so fun. Well, to everyone who's watching on all of our combined streams, I hope you're enjoying yourselves. I say that a lot, but I like to check in on y'all. Thanks to everyone who's watching over on Onivia. As we've been saying before, we've been kind of teaming up with the highlights channel there to bring you some live League of Legends, to bring something closer towards an audience which is already very invested in the pro scene. It's been a good couple of streams. We've been really enjoying interacting with you all and seeing the big number go up. Jeez, man, this series is so hype in LCK. I wish I had LCK co-streamers. Look, I still rather do LPL because I've attached myself to that league so much, and I do enjoy the teams. But I love watching these games. I am a big LCK fan too. I like good League of Legends. I really like good League of Legends. This game is absolutely I mean, what the hell is going on in this game, actually? Doran on Aurelia as well, and actually playing it out well. The thing is, Doran on Aurelia... oh, no, that was Birdall. Birdall's the one I was thinking of. He has the record for the... losing the most CS, like having the worst CS deficit at Worlds because he played into Bin's Fiora, leveled the wrong thing at level 1 and got completely dumped on. Yeah, I completely agree, Mecca. And this is the thing which I think, particularly for Western followers that only watch like LCS or LTA, like it's completely fine to do that if those are the teams which you're interested in, whatever. But if you actually want to understand the game, you must watch LCK and LPL. I think that a lot of people have been a bit reticent to watch LPL in the past because it's been harder to find content for it, and there are so many teams, and they've made less of an effort for international followers. But I just think you have to try and get as invested in the LPL as you can to learn a lot of stuff there too. There's a lot of very cool concepts which have come out of LPL gameplay. Oh man, what's happening now on LCK? It's an even game. I did say that I thought that T1 would walk away with it 3-1. Game 1 was pretty actually favoured though. Might have been a bit of a comp diff. MF LeBlanc though, what the heck? It's a heck of a 2v2. Storm Surge first, that's great. Just looking for the double chains, I guess. Okay, well, folks, we're going to get drinks and stuff in the background, finding out our MVP. Who do be our MVP? Leave. Of course it is. Couldn't really be anyone else, could it? Oh, such a good game. And he had gold efficiency too. That's great. I mean, yes, when you're a Pope champ, you should do, but yeah. LPL, I think, is hard to understand their macro decisions because they're so focused on forcing micro mistakes. So I would contest that a little bit, and I think I'd follow I Will Dominate's logic, where I think that the whole thing of forcing micro mistakes and stuff like that in terms of macro style, I don't quite agree. I think what LPL does is try and force ultimates and summoners away from you before the big fight, so then they have an objective, they have something at an objective fight. Which is why they're so willing to take individual skirmishes, because they know that if they can trade up in summoners, even if there's not a kill, they can work around that very well. LPL is the region of summoner economy. And they do it really, really well. It's just that has often been misconstrued of, oh, they're so scrappy and skirmish heavy, and they just fight you all the time because they just really want to outplay you. No, they're actually looking for it's a different kind of resource. It's a different win condition. I think that's, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but that's what other people have said about the LPL very commonly over years. Whereas, I look at a lot of the players, I look at a lot of the players in this game, it's about, avoiding certain aspects of the 5v5, it's about forcing enemy carries to play differently in the big fights. If Xayah has all of her summoners in her ultimate, she can play fights very well. If she doesn't have them, she can't. Very easy champion to understand in that way. But LPL was very good at understanding how to play with and against Xayah because of that. Ooh, solo kill. And the Atakan. Jeez, I need to go back and slow-mo watch this game. It's insane. Okay. yeah, Mecha, I do understand that. Everyone voting for the MVP there, unanimous MVP? Yeah, as it should be. For sure. And that's the thing, right? I think, you could misconstrue LCK as, oh, they never like to fight. They don't like fighting, so they go through macro instead. Obviously, that's not the case. They just understand what they get out of a macro. Like the slow burn games in LCK, they have good reason too. Kai'Sa was the MVP. Leave was just the pilot. I just think Leave played it really well. His W accuracy, his positioning, his timing of engage was really good. Careful, thank you. Coffee for me. What I missed? Leave got MVP, no surprise there. Yeah. I'm gonna go to the toilet real quick if that's okay.
I'll look after chat.
As we go into a bit of a break.
We run ads in break.
I ran some just after chat, and it's like we'll run some on the other side as well.
Fabulous. So I don't need to mute anything, do I? And you've run ads. Okay. Cool. Beautiful. Wonderful. Hello, chat. Good to see you, Cynic. Hey, Suchi. Hey, Elias. Good to see you. And again, thank you all for coming and tuning in. Twitch chat, Alex's YouTube chat, and of course, Onivia as well. Nice to have you guys on in here as well. Pleasure as always to see you all here. We look at random Mercedes cars. Adverts everywhere. As far as the eye can see, I'm not an advert. Aside from possibly good genetics. Hey, not doing anything on Friday if anybody, wants to hit me up. But aside from that... I need to lean over. This is very annoying. I'm not really on screen. I have to sort of lean this way. It's actually quite uncomfortable. Move this way a bit. That needs to go that way. I need to go this way. Maybe. Okay. Oh. Look, all the eye candy on both screens. Exactly. That's it. What is this song? I keep expecting advert music, realizing, oh yeah, we've got Spotify on. An LPL adventure? Oh my days, how exciting. But the thing is, I am at least glad from what we saw from RNG today. I don't think they are going to be a top table team. Probably, or they won't have that potential. They won't have that potential until summer. I don't think there's still a lot growing to do, but you can see what is supposed to be the player strengths on this team. We see the playmaking from Milky Way and Niket. We see Jachi very willing to be aggressive with those players and is really on board with that game. I think we'll need to see where Tang Yuan levels out at. We need to see how Xiaoshu kind of converts coming back to RNG. Because, of course, when he started his career, it was on Roll Club, the academy team of RNG. Then kind of had some time with the likes of LNG, or not LNG, LGD. And all over the place. And obviously now back on the organization where he started his pro playing career. And I don't think he has been as consistent for me as I'd like him to be, at least on things like that Rumble there. You're given a lot of priority. That is a first pick, very high prio champion that you don't really deliver on. 11,000 damage on a Rumble? Not really what you're looking for. Welcome.
I really don't like having the camera over the logo here, but I don't know what else to do with it. Because I don't want to change it. Because like, it's nice that
we're a co-stream.
Because it's nice to have this because it's a nice full screen and you see the score. So people come in and are like, oh, they know the score. They know the score.
But on the other hand, our faces.
Yeah, I know.
Where's my face gone? Alex?
I
don't have a face anymore. Now you turn it off. I only exist when I'm perceived. Why am I not being perceived, Alex?
That's a good question. Oh, I'll need to remember that in the future to unmute as we go into the interview. Because I like hearing these little between game pieces. There are the subtitles there, so if someone's reading them, obviously I can understand them. But yeah. Aki, great glow up from him this year. Like last year was bad.
Not pretty.
It was bad. I say that. Good in spurts in spring. His summer was poor. I mean, they replaced him with Lien.
Mm-hmm.
For worth noting, folks, Shanji and Aki before Lien replaced Aki last year had played all of their LPL games, for as long as, because I think Aki was in slightly before Shanji. They had played all of their LPL games together. Shanji had never played with another jungler in the LPL.
Really?
Yeah, they played like 500 games together. They're one of the big duos within the LPL. So Lien coming in because Aki had struggled, it was a huge change. Huge change. It was, yeah, Schrodinger's casters? Yeah, that does. Thank you for the follows, by the way. I have noted. But Flopen NIP fan. Well, I hope you're enjoying.
I hope you're enjoying NIP.
This
yeah,
this is a good split to be an NIP fan. I think as soon as they mentioned that Doonby was joining the squad instead of who was IG's mid laner? The guy Nani, the guy.
The role swap. Yeah, from top Nani.
I appreciate the fact that you role swapped and he's tough. Look, the guy was clearly not going to be a top tier LPL mid laner. As soon as Doonby came in, I was like, okay, we're onto something. It's just a question of how quickly it clicks and how effectively it clicks. It's clicked right from the start, and it's been incredibly effective. Like, I need to see this team in a best of 5 versus BLG. I need to see that. I need to see them versus the top teams because they understand win conditions very well. I think when we saw them against IG, they were very good at navigating difficult games. I think if you give this team like an unplayable map state, they will find the best thing to do with it. That's the kind of team that they are. They're very down to earth, and I think they are very good at assessing what tools they have to change a game. In this game, right, they got to a point where it's just Kai'Sa just flinging W's out. That is a win condition. That is actually fine as well. I wouldn't mind that. More teams pushing BLG is good for the entire league. Absolutely it is. We haven't managed to... Well, we'll see BLG tomorrow, so we'll get to talk about them a little bit more then. But last year was one of the least contested LPL years I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was really one-sided.
Cast your mind back to the history of LPL. LPL has always had 2 top teams. Always had 2 top teams. There's always been a rivalry for the top, which has been at least somewhat close. We've seen, at the start we had obviously WE and Royal Never Give Up and stuff like that. Not Royal Give Up, that was Royal Club and stuff like that, right? We've always had something like that. We had EDG RNG, we had RNG IG, we've had
FPX turning up multiple times.
FPX EDG later on too, and then of course we got into Top Esports versus JDG much more recently, and then BLG joined up with JDG. But this last year, it was just BLG.
Yeah,
it's just BLG.
It really was,
and it really has been a paradigm shift. If BLG are not contested for a second year in a row, I mean, one thing that does is just prove to me that Bin and Knight are generational players that we need to start considering as, some of the greatest of all time. Well, I mean, we already do consider them as some of the greatest in their own roles, but it's just more respect on their name. Really want teams to push them into Draft 2. Their NIP cleanly won Game 1 after Leave came online, really. The early game was not necessarily the best, but NIP were just better at playing the map, by and large. RNG, one of the issues which we have with mid and bottom table teams, which RNG may well find themselves in, is can you do this for multiple games in a series? Push them Game 1, didn't manage to win it. It doesn't get easier from here.
And I think a few of those champions were pretty key. Nymaera on the Rel, really valuable. Jachi on the Xayah, again, really valuable. These are champions that they are very, very comfortable on. And we'll see how it plays out from there. I think also Tongyuan, someone on the mid lane who has often looked at things like the Corki, particularly last year when Corki was Giga Meta, to try and find big advantages in mid lane, and the Corki was fine. It just wasn't game breaking, which I think Corki sometimes has been in terms of value, but that is just straight up Yone getting locked in.
Damn, okay, Yone, first pick. Now this signals stuff like Sejuani for the jungle. It means that you can go towards something like Leona, Ziggs, if PP God doesn't take it. I think NIP take Leona now and say, alright, get that away from Nymaera, arguably his best champion. Stop them from playing Ziggs Leona, which is fantastic with Yone.
And they might, in fact, just look at something like a jungle option here as well. The Wukong or the Vi, both pretty good. Misfortune is great with the Leona as well. And it's a bit of a takeaway in terms of harder to play Ziggs now without a Rel or the Leona. And the Misfortune is probably better by itself. But they will just take up the Zyra away from Aki. Milky Way just fine on that one. If you lock in a Nautilus as well, that's a fair amount of CC and burst.
So you could have still gone for Ziggs Nautilus if you wanted. They go towards the Zyra instead, so they need magic damage from somewhere. And if you're not getting it from mid lane, you need to find somewhere else. Rumble is already gone. You need to find something else. NIP, very different draft now, though. The Nidalee being locked in now signals to me 3v3 bot lane. Leona is very good setup for the Nidalee early. Now, that was something that NIP lost last game. Getting more firepower here for NIP to start off better around bot side, obviously good for them.
What do you want to pick up now in that bot lane for RNG? You've still got to think about Jachi's option. They're banning away some of Xiaoshu's takes as well. The Udyr has been rising in priority in the LPL. It does feel like with the build of the Fimbul Winter and the Unending Despair, you can do a surprising amount of work there on that champion. Bans very much focused towards that top lane. Interesting, the Renekton banned out as well. We already had the Rumble and the Ambessa used, which have been pretty popular. Casante's already banned. We banned out things like the Naha as well. A lot of those fair weather champions that people seem to play whatever the meta might well be removed. Jachi having his Ezreal taken away. Especially when you've got the Nautilus and might want to roam. Ezreal feels like one of those champions which does unlock your support a little bit more.
Okay, so NIP right now have a good front to back. They have some ways to get onto backline. Carries Jachi could go towards Jhin Zyra. You have enough damage from the Yone in terms of consistent damage. You could also go towards, well, Varus is gone. I think Jhin looks Jhin or Ziggs. I don't know if you want to go double AP though. Either of them is okay. The Ziggs allows you to play for outrange even against the MF and the
go on.
and the Nidalee. You did say Jachi and Nymaera love playing Samira lanes. That is genuinely quite a good hover for them. That's not a troll. They could go towards that if they want. I wouldn't do it into a Gragas myself.
I wouldn't personally, no. Your Blade Whirl is fine. Is it enough to deal with that? I don't know. And they'll go towards the Jhin instead that you suggested. And I think that makes sense. If you lock in now Camille, basically it says we're playing around top side of the map. The Jhin is there to set things up.
I don't think you want Camille. I think you want something that can play from range. Like the Yone is going to be diving in. I get that. And I know the Jhin can follow up. I think you can play Jhin Zyra outrange. I think you can play that. I don't think you have to force yourself into this.
Gragas can be a pretty good answer into a Hextech Ultimatum, right? You just knock the Camille out and just lock it.
Right, they go for it. And it is something that Xiaoxi has played decent amount in the past. You now got last pick for Doomby in the mid lane. This could be... Oh, Smolder's gone. What do you do now? You could play Victor. That's still outranged. I don't think you can play outrange here. I don't think there's a mid laner which does that very effectively. Oh, Pantheon mid into Yone. Doomby's at it again. Doomby and Fearless Draft brings out the weird stuff. Pantheon mid into Yone.
Okay, so my understanding is that Yone will unbind his soul and Pantheon will go, great, shield vault, whack you. And then Yone goes, well, that sucked, and then has to go back to his body a few times.
I mean, the problem is, Yone dashes forwards with his E, and Pantheon just
doesn't care.
Just slams your shit in.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Just don't
just press
get to do
W, you shield vault him.
Man, I love this. I love that Doomby is playing Fearless. He even said in one of his first interviews, Doomby interviews are always great. He said, thank you, Fearless Draft. Thank you, Riot, for giving me a job. If it wasn't Fearless, I wouldn't have a job. Well, he's locked in the Pantheon mid. I think it's great for this composition. Solo lane Pantheon has been very good for a while. It's been difficult to know which matchups to play it into. I love this pick in now. If you can go against Tongyuan on the Yone, he is a good Yone player. That could be a paradigm shifter. Any team beyond this point now has to consider that Yone as having another counter.
There you have it. We've seen a Lee Sin mid play from this guy already. We've seen a Rise that's popped off. He just has one or two fun bits in the back pocket. He always has. Even back when he was the star carrier on like Chaco Reapers for a while, when he was playing Kassadin as a main star, when they were looking to maybe be one of the best teams and then just couldn't get it over the line. Eventually, of course, FBX happened and things changed and the manner in which Doinby changed, but he's been bringing back this side of his gameplay, this ability to have the counter picks that are there to be really, really dangerous and living up to what people hope for from Fearless.
Well, folks, we'll get ourselves into the game shortly and sweetly. Let's get ourselves back onto the Rift and unmute the stream to see how those gyros sound.
It's a tight race, but I think NIP might have had it there. Doinby bringing in a lot of fans. He is one of the single most popular people in China, bar none.
Yeah. You know, his stream has been incredible for a while too. It would be, you know, like if Cadril came back to pro play or something like that and was like top tier. It's a lot to ask.
Was he ever?
How many playoffs did Cadril? No, look, I'm sorry, I like Mark. I don't know why I'm saying this.
No, just bullying the man. He's not here.
I don't feel
Sorry,
sorry
Mark.
about that at all. This is not stuff I... Okay, whatever.
Why did he name himself after a cathedral?
It's a great question, Sam. Why did I name myself after whatever I named myself after? It's a secret. It's not a secret, but if you know what it is, you can message me and I'll tell you whether it's right or not.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not Game of Thrones. Anyway, level 1, going in for NIP. I think what NIP want to do is force the lane swaps to the Gragas.
Xiaoshu?
Because the Gragas does better on the lane swap. PP Guard walking up does get that level 1 Q. Tactical defenses does, adapted defenses rather, does help a little bit.
Still a bit of a chunk there. Lost about 20% of the HP. The lane swap's committed to. And it's also meant that Zyra has not had the ability to set up loads and loads of plant spawns. It could be a bit rough to starting off her clear.
It is, yeah. One of the ways that we saw people deal with Zyra last year was to double invade. Once to stop the plant seeds being used, and then the second one while the plants aren't there and you can't even fight around them. Got a level 2v2 in the mid lane. This is quite similar to some of the stuff we saw heading in towards Worlds last year, the start of Worlds. Where you'd send your top laner or your support into mid lane to make sure that they could kind of stop weird stuff like this happening.
Level 2 happens. The Tango can unbind the soul. The Ignite came down. It should be fine as Doinby with the Ignite,
Yeah.
of course. Doesn't need teleport on Pantheon because you have an R button.
And it does mean eventually that Yone just walks at you, just one shot. Shanji now going to be very, very unhappy with the state of affairs. People got heading towards bot side. Xiaoshu might have leveled up the hook shot first for extra CC.
They didn't use it to try and escape from the Leona, so I'm not sure they did. I've not seen what they've used. I've not seen a hook shot.
I actually didn't see that in mid lane because we were kind of flitting back and forth on the observers with that, choosing not to do anything. Teleporting towards top side now to go towards the XP there. And we need to see what NIP's next lane assignments are going to be. Are we going to see Gragas into the Camille, which is probably something NIP really wants to avoid? Or are we going to see... Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to chase the Camille around with the Gragas instead, which... I think that RNG are happy now that the Camille is into the Gragas.
Yeah, they're happy enough with that. And still got a potential gank option down here. Milky Way looking for this early play. Happened last game as well. It was really valuable. PP got flashing on out. Aki now coming on over. The Deadly Flourish goes wide. This invade onto the red buff was happening. Do they want to play this out? I don't know how powerful this will be as Tangyuan can come on over, but wait for the flash option from Doinby. Gonna try and re-engage. There is the Zenith Blade. Flash on forward. Aki now very deep with Doinby, who shield vaults in. Levers come on over. And first blood goes the way of NIP.
I gotta say, the hero of that play honestly is PP God. Escapes that play early on just by flashing out into the enemy jungle, knowing that his players can get there first. The extra CC, the long-range Zenith Blade, PP God really turning up again, showing how much this guy has glowed up from last year.
Last time we saw Pantheon in the mid lane was Twila for Thunder Talk Gaming in 2021.
It's been a while, and
I don't even remember Twila as a player. So
I do a bit. I do remember a little bit actually.
I don't remember what they were like.
And I do remember though that was just after the Worlds where Pantheon was 100% pick ban at Worlds. I think it was Pantheon, yeah, season 10, 2020. I think that that was when it was just not an OK champion. So the year after that, I'd imagine that was just kind of like the hangover of people still know how to play Pantheon in like 4 roles.
A little bit of that. Don't know whether it was a win, but it was played. There is that. Of course, the one thing that was burned there was a lot of flashes by NIP. Aki, Doinby, PP God, all burning flashes. Milky Way and Tangyuan did burn theirs as well, so it's not like it was completely one-sided, but can be a bit scary for things like this Leona if you go in and can't get out.
See, I think Niket was trying to play around the trap there, but whenever Leona gets Aftershock and the Eclipse, you don't want to fight them. So
You time them out,
yeah, so what you really want to do is make sure that you can kind of blow the Aftershock and then look for a hook afterwards. A really good game to show. That's not the best game from the Leona side of it, but G2 versus Giant X and LEC, best of 1. Level 1, you can see that Labyrinth massively outplays by making sure that the bone plating's gone, the Eclipse is not on and stuff like that. And then run the lane through that. If you're a support player that wants to learn how to play the melee support matchups, really important thing to learn about what defensive tools you can blow for the easiest and how often you can do that.
Always a bit of a skill set in bot lane. How do I make this tank not a tank? Because a lot of your supports who are tanky because of tanky in Windows.
Yeah. Yeah, so just addressing some stuff in chat, because hey guys, we are actually paying attention.
We are occasionally.
Radar, so game 1 was not RNG getting blasted actually. They 2v2, they got a 3v2 kill on bot lane, where it was a very good early gank, and then they got a 2v2 kill onto Leave. So Leave started the game 0-2, but then eventually NIP were much better at playing around the objectives, and Kaiser hit an AP poke build.
That was obscene.
Sheer Vessus Reaver, Shadow Flame, Void Staff, Deathcap. Got some pen boots in there as well, didn't even go for the upgrade. Solo carried the game after that point. They couldn't play the outrange. RNG played much better than I thought they should have done, though, in terms of expectations on paper. And, you know, RNG, if they win this series today, there is still hope of them getting towards playoffs. It's just a very unlikely situation. Milky Way trying to make it a bit more likely, though. Jungle support roaming towards the bot lane.
Oh, went looking for it. Do finally get a bit of CC, but Shanji actually solid enough escape there. Had the flash still, so it wasn't been that easy.
Shout out to Niket, not walking any closer, so he would have hooked the wall. That
Seen that once or twice.
That could have forced some
Could have been a vampire.
bad things.
Could have been a vampire.
Could have been a vampire. I say that they're both rookie supports. We prefer one of them to the other, folks. You're not going to hear the unbiased cast on that one here.
Look, I will admit some bias, right? But I come in trying to hype up some of these rookies coming in because I have watched them in LDL and I see what these teams have seen in them. And then sometimes they come in and they don't deliver. They don't step
Fun
up.
stuff as well. So we are getting some really cool tech coming through as we see the, again, the longer dive coming through. Symbiotic souls built up by the Pantheon. Turning one over the wall. Aki caught.
Ultimatum keeps Aki caught between a wall and a hard place. The hook after they have enough follow-up. Aki continues to try and run away. The ignite is pretty good. The bullet time onto the cap finally goes down. Does that niddly. Doinby continues to go forwards, gets a Comet Spear to make it a 1-for-1.
1-for-1, but again, just a messy play. RNG not quite cleanly finishing things off. Similar into game 1, RNG would look for the aggressive players, but NIP would largely outplay. Not all the time, it was actually a very close game, but NIP lose their jungler, go a little bit too deep, and as I was saying, you know, Doinby has now got level 6, so he can start roaming around the map. He also has Symbiotic Souls, so he wants to be recalling, running back out onto the map. This is Doinby Dark Technologies. We'll see how that one comes to play after. Already sees, though, we had 4 people here, but they're split. They're not able to actually bring everyone here. If you had the bullet time in a better position at the start of the fight, then yes, you could potentially stop this play coming through in the first place, but they were too invested in trying to clear the wave out under the tower. It does end up being a 1-for-1. Doinby picking that up is important. This Pantheon with gold will play the game very, very differently.
Also, you're not running teleport. Value on that additional move speed and reset potential means that this Pantheon will still be all over the map without that kind of normally core option. Bot lane, Cask has been used, but Shanji now out of problems. Fly for the 4th shot! Jachi, my goat!
Jachi and the Cat have played so well this series against NIP. Jachi does blow the flash, but this guy has been playing so aggressively, and it feels like there's a real newfound confidence in this guy. Love to see it.
And part of this for me is coming back and playing with people he knows, feels like he's got some synergy with, and it just gives him a bit of verve to look for not just surviving.
The vibes are good, Sam.
That's
it.
The
vibes are good.
That is it.
And I hope they keep this bot lane together. I know that the first series Lilo played, and he did look quite good in that series. They delayed putting Niket back in to see if that would keep up. Sadly, it didn't. Shanji, level 6, but he's just going up against, you know, the big old 4th shots coming through. Ult comes through. I'm guessing it's ult to cancel the ult, but he wasn't in range for the first bit. Tries to walk out of it instead.
Yeah, it doesn't have the cask, so it is just that.
Yeah, so I guess we didn't see the cask. I can't remember the last time it was cast, but stands on the ward and Jachi just walks up. Bad Q, doesn't get the slow. Doesn't even think about flashing after that point because it's
a grenade.
Yeah, it's very hard to cancel the 4th shot auto. Once it's kind of in the animation, it's going to fly the chamber. Shanji just brutally outplayed.
The one thing I'll say though is Leave is still up fairly significantly in CS here. About 20 or so. I think that's partly the lane swap shenanigan to put things into difficult spots.
This happened last game too, actually. There is a bullet time for Leave. You don't want to necessarily drag yourself too far in here. Remember, there is a Pantheon ult as well.
Oh, absolutely right. Milky Way! Just about alive. Is there a flash ignite angle? No. PP God won't look for the dubstep.
Yeah, I was looking at the minimap at the same time because you see that as soon as that play started bot side, Tony just ran at Doonby and said, I cannot let you join the fight. Missing pings everywhere. Because that could have changed an awful lot. RNG to very nearly lose their jungler. Leaves Misfortune, as you said, in a strong point, even though not necessarily had the flash outplay of Jatshi onto Shanji. Much like the last game, might not get the kills, but is getting the CS.
Turn around, that's the hook. And there's finally the level 6 comes on through. That could be problematic. PP got low, not quite down. Zedfed comes on in. But look who else is here! Doonby looking for the play. The solar flare not going to be quite enough point in the gun call. Flash to deny. Leave saves the support.
Get yourself an AD carry that will put themselves on the line for you like Leave. PP God has himself a very, very helpful AD carry in that situation. Comes away, and Jatchi and Niket, they paid attention to the Pantheon the last play, didn't get it in this one, lose both their lives.
Oh, they nearly had it. And PP God leveling up partway through that as well. Wow. Worth noting, the Misfortune here as well now gets a Ghost Blade at the back end of all this, is going towards this build. We've seen Misfortune go towards increasing not just the Bloodthirster first, may well go Bloodthirster second still, but it does feel like the value in that move speed and that early lethality is pretty good right now, especially with crit types feeling a little dicey in some ways. Right?
I don't think you can actually auto-attack much against this team, which is the big deciding factor for me. Jhin can outrange you, Nautilus has so much CC, that's a cancel on the hook shot. Doonby's there to roam as well.
The scissor legs are broken, there's no ankles there. And a Comet Spear brings that can be down to earth real fast.
Well, congratulations, NIP. You have a second jungler this game. Doonby and Aki both playing both sides of the map.
And he's still even in CS. He's still on near enough 10 CS a minute. Oh my days. PP God now in danger. Still doesn't have the flash. Stranglethorns come on through. There is a solar flare. I don't think about it. The bullet time will first stop any further follow-up. Jatchi is trying. We are seeing RNG try, but the damage just isn't there right now. And Leave can just deny it. With the press of a button.
Once again, NIP are just better at playing the map. Doonby is everywhere, whether it's the ult or whether using, you know, the budget mobility boots of the Symbiotic Souls, which are going to go towards the Synchronized Souls soon enough. NIP, they're going to get themselves the Feats of Strength 2, which is really nice, especially when the boots are just the movement speed related ones. Movement speed is such a good stat in League of Legends. Doonby is going to take over this map. RNG need to be very careful when they're buying into skirmishes like this. Bit of a dangerous play. The level up, getting the level 6 changes everything. You know, yes, it's the extra HP. That would have been a clean kill. It is a good Captain Jack from Jatchi, but he goes for the last shot here and Leave blocks the bullet. Man, Leave saving the support.
Misfortune by name, but not by nature. What an insane flash. Then you look for this one, you're going, right, I'm going to throw everything down. The Eclipse is on, but the Solar Flare is not going to matter that much, right? It's just they can't stand and finish that gap.
That's a really good angle. That's a really good position from Leave. Leave has been so good this split too. We've been waiting a little while to see the best of Leave consistently. I think that the second split he came in, after the first one, you know, things got a little bit strange with that one on the drama side of things.
Yes, it is.
His second split in wasn't fantastic. I think by the end of last year, though, he was trying to carry a poor team, and he was the best part of a poor team. It was him and Ala, really. Yeah. Although, well, no, Ala ended up leaving in summer, didn't he? So it wasn't. I mean,
Ala went to AL, right? That was when AL really popped off.
So Ala was like holding things together in spring. Leave, I think, really stepped up in summer and his last split on EDG. Now I just think this guy has been really, really good, and we'll see how he stacks up against top tier AD carries later into this split. Obviously, he played against Gala and IG. Gala, I don't think, has been having the best time in in the split one so far. Aki, Doonby.
Strikebreaker slow. There's no Eclipse on this Pantheon. Has gone towards a little bit more of a bruiser option. Does manage to get that Spirit Cleave by time. PP God looking for a Solar Flare. Well buffered with the Fate Seal. The bullet time, not the best angle. The Stranglethorns after, actually really good in the turret shot. Helps Milky Way confirm the anti-dive.
Yeah, clean anti-dive. Double ultimates led by Nautilus and Zyra. Aki, strong enough to look for a kill after this point if a spear hits. In fact, the Pantheon ult's going too. Where is it going? No
way! Niket will get the dredge line that doesn't matter, and now they can keep looking. Doonby has got flash. We'll have ignite in a second. Milky Way down to flash on the other side, trying to buy time. Look at the curtain call though. They're between two turrets, and this ain't Lord of the Rings. Bring me a teleport worthy of Saruman, because that weren't it. Aki in danger now. Hextech ultimatum will surely follow as Chachi gets around flourish. The observing is top tier. It is straight cinema here. The return of the bot lane king.
Oh, absolute cinema. Chachi landing so many crucial shots. This AD carry has been so confident today. RNG giving way more of a fight to NIP than I think so many people would have given them any hope to do so. But NIP have been held to account. They have been the better team of NIP, but not by a clear enough margin that they can get away with plays like this. Doonby making the most out of this Pantheon pick. He comes in to have a really good trade onto Tinyman. That's what starts this off, by completely out-trading Tinyman, who doesn't get to play the game at this point. He just ends up having to completely flee the play. Little bit misguided in the full dive, though, because you are into very good heavy CC after that point. It means that the Zyra ultimate is very likely to get the full value of itself. This one, look, I appreciate the predict. He does land the Comet Spear as part of the ultimate directly onto Niket. However, then you are very much behind enemy lines.
Nice.
Wait, hang on. Did Doonby end up accidentally... Hang on, I think Milky Way ended up putting down a plant and the stun went onto the plant instead. Incredible.
Amazing. Hang on, Stranglethorn's pretty good. Doonby on the flank, though, still being really frustrating. The bullet time is good. Doonby will have a Comet Spear in a second. Just gets it. It's not enough to execute. It's not the empowered one.
Oh, hair shot on that too. It has been close margins all game long. And really it has been the Pantheon at the center of this. Has upgraded the symbiotic souls into the synchronized souls now. So the mobility boots, the empowered recalls really working out well for that Pantheon. RNG, however, for the most part, have been playing very well to contain bits and pieces of that Pantheon for now.
The problem is the gold lead is still pretty extensive for NIP. They've got 2 turrets, RNG have none. There is still pretty good CS numbers going around. I think as well, because of some of the plays that Milky Way tried to make bot lane, Aki has gone in and invaded the blue side jungle a lot. You're up 35 CS in a matchup that is very flippy. The one that gets ahead stays ahead, generally speaking. And again, Milky Way forced out of his own jungle here. It's just that the counter engage this time is still pretty good.
If the root hits from Milky Way, I think this play gets a little bit different. Also, another thing which I'm noticing in here too, Xiaoshu is not relevant yet.
No.
Xiaoshu, hair short. Ooh. Hair short. That has taken some leaves off of Zyra's butt there. Just about makes it out of the play.
That's Fimbulwinter coming in second from this Pantheon, by the way, going for a tank build.
I was actually wondering whether he would even go towards something like Titanic Hydra, actually forced to be cleansed a way out of that solar flat. Hey, it's been pretty clean so far. But yeah, you know, as the longer this game goes on, I think what might tip the scales is Camille actually being a scaling threat. 2-item Camille, I think, cleans up these plays because they are actually a consistent damage threat. The thing about NIP. So let's go down the list, right? Okay. There's actually a big play coming through. Let's not go down the list. Let's go into the fight.
Very dead PP got the last sword to the bunch and surely secure. It doesn't until just now. Stranglethorn buys time, but Doonby is so damn tanky. Shanji on a flank. Could look for a big angle. Chachi flashed on that. They end up losing 2 nonetheless.
The numbers advantage works out for NIP. Xiaoshu is in topside. We were just saying, actually, the Camille might turn the game eventually. She's not turning the game right now, and that's a problem. RNG are playing towards these big, kind of bursty picks, trying to kill people with their big ultimates before the skirmish really evolves into a proper team fight. And they don't have the Camille to really get the most out of the scenario.
Try and play for this turret regardless. Shanji is here, still has the cask. Will not save the turret. Xiaoshu does secure. Roam coming up from Nidalee. His fortune was leaning that way too, but backs off. And Xiaoshu is still going to be pretty slippery on this. We'll have a look again, because it looked like RNG had caught PP God overplaying for vision.
Yeah, but then once again, Leave, really good flash to the side. If that Yone ult hits the Misfortune, I think this fight goes very differently again. Would have clunked up the both of them. So Leave clutch reaction flash to cancel the bullet time. And that means that they do have bullet up, the double up to get that last kill. Zyra's died again because the jungle now belongs to NIP.
And Zyra is a champion that without flash, without vision, is pretty exploitable. She is very squishy and very short range, and if you miss your E for whatever reason, you still get jumped on and you die, especially if you haven't got to a Zonya's or something yet.
Herald spawned on the top side. Do have a minute until the next dragon spawns. It would be second for either of these. It's not been about dragons this game. It has been about control. And yeah, he's on vision. Your jungle does not belong to you. Aki finds him out, lands a spear. This is something that Nidalee obviously can do. In a very skirmish-heavy game like this, of course the Nidalee's going to have more value like this.
How aggressive do they want to play this? It will be a very deep angle.
Wow, Pantheon's in base. Pantheon's not here. Pantheon's in base.
Will have a Grand Star. Doesn't have Grand Starfall either, so actually can't join with the ultimate. They're going to throw down the Hextech all the way, but it's onto the Gragas? Don't know about that one. Xiaoshu's going to die. The Curtain Call is fine, but there's just no damage. It's over.
They have overforced the play. They see the numbers advantage, but they do not thread the needle for the engage. It's a decent Nautilus ult to stand things up, but Xiaoshu, we were just saying, hey, look, if the game goes late enough, the Camille can carry. Not like that, you can't. Even if you're a fed Camille, you don't dive into 4 people who have CC into you. It's just not good enough to play like that. Xiaoshu is the win condition for RNG, I think, at this point. He needs to get to a point where he can hit 2-3 items. Throwing his life away in misguided plays like that when the engage angle just kind of closes is not how you win this game.
And you have to look at it again. That's Jachi going for a static shiv rapid fire build. That is a utility.
Yep.
It's poke. It's wave clear. You don't really do damage until Infection Doms. After that, you are 3-4 items deep.
That is a Pantheon ult onto Milky Way. Oh, the Zyra really does not feel particularly happy about this.
He's around, going to try and buy some time, but I think that is just a dead Zyra. Gets to flash away, decent Strangle Thorns, but it's still a very tanky front line. Turnaround begins to come on through, but they can't do any follow-up. The turnaround damage on base is just way too much.
And again, I actually don't mind the angle of saying, oh, they've used their ultimates. Maybe we can trap them in too deeply. But this is your problem. Yone was here. Yone was on the other side of the map. The different parts of RNG are pushing in different directions, and it feels like they are not buying into the craziness of a skirmish game or slowing down enough for a macro side laning game. They need to do one or the other, and they're pulling in too many directions to make it work.
Double Thimble Winter's now transformed as well. That it just makes dealing with the Gragas and the Pantheon, who have things like Aegis Assault, who have things like Drunken Rage, are always more deceptively tanky than you think. Really problematic to deal with, because we've seen multiple times like Derby get caught in a Stranglethorns, but he has his shield up and suddenly takes no damage. And that's really annoying now, especially when the map is looking increasingly dark and full of Pantheons.
Not quite sure that's how the quote goes. Believe me. Yeah, I'm not sure that's... I keep getting myself flyer down here. As, yeah, NIP, ahead in Grubs, ahead in Dragons, very much ahead in Gold now. Look, this game has very quickly become about RNG. Is there any way you can come back into this game? I think probably they've overextended too many times now. I really like doing this as the Leona just standing forward and trying to claim Tribrush. They do need to back off now, I think, though, now that they've been forced out of that. They know that RNG are looking for an approach in here. NIP need to have a way to control this area.
PP God takes a bit of a chunk. They are desperately trying to force control. What's going down? Shanji
Camille would need to teleport in. Camille is currently on the top lane of the turret, but she's not here now.
Gonna try and get across Milky Way. Stranglethorns are decent, but a flash straight on over. It means even with a knock-up, that is a dead jungler.
And Xiaoshu stays top lane. Cass doesn't find them back into the enemy team. NIP will walk away with kills. They don't get the Atacon just now, but I think they're fine. With 5 grubs, the Lethality MF still shredding towers. Yeah. RNG, once again, their solo laners are not linked up with what their team wants to do.
They are just playing for these turrets best they can. They got the tier 2 top. They don't get anything more. And it's traded for a tier 2 bot, and you can still return to the Atacons. So in the end, it's a tower for tower trade. And you still lose significant pressure on the map.
Yeah, and now getting objective bounties and inner turret, it is good gold. But at that point, you need to play so much more safely on the other side of the map. I'm not saying it's just the solo laners being disconnected from the main clump. It's the main clump being disconnected from the solo laners. They must understand what can be done here.
He's going to be dove. Actually takes a lot of damage behind the shield, and we only block damage from one direction. Fate Seal not going to be quite on target. Gotta kill this Pantheon! Finally do, but the turnaround with a bullet time will surely bring everyone. They want this turret, they'll do it, but oh my days.
Why did they not kill the turret first? Atacon taken by NIP. RNG once again go for a scrappy play, and this time it is actually the solo laners going. It's like, right, fine, I'll find my way into this one. NIP clearly quicker on the map, clearly stronger as individual members right now. A 3,000 gold advantage in the jungle means that Milky Way is down 3,000 gold and can't really fight anyone.
Deadly Flourish not going to land. I wondered whether there might have been an angle for a curtain call if the W had landed. It won't quite happen. But that is really problematic, and this Misfortune hasn't needed the Bloodthirst and went Essence Reaver second, going towards what will likely be a Lord Dominic's third as well. If you hit with an ultimate right now, you will break people. Have a look at this, because initially, it looks scary. Don't be down at 20%.
After a while, I think, look, you just reset aggro with Tanyan, and then you just take the tower. I think that's the easiest way to do it. That tower is doing so much work. It basically takes Xiaoshu's whole health bar. And then you're left in a point where, you know, Misfortune with Ghostblade and W moves across the map much quicker than you expect. You can't look for, like, quick picks. It's too hard to kill a tanky Pantheon like this. He has an unending despair now, which scales off of the bonus HP that you have, which is fantastic when you've got a load of that from Stridebreaker and the Fimbulwinter too. RNG, just again, misjudging bits of the micro, which has been not bad in terms of the options they have available to them, but they're just misjudging the micro.
Obviously now the MF picked up the upgraded steel caps as well. Is it like Vanguard's Assault or Noxian Advance? I forget the exact term of it. But you're into triple AD carry. Actually really annoying for people like this Yone and this Camille and this Jhin to like kill this Misfortune
the
straight
Noxian
up.
Advance, wait, for who?
For Leaf. It's not, it's the upgraded steel caps.
Oh, yes, you're right, yes.
That's quite annoying when you've got like 3 auto attackers.
Jatchi.
Good dodge for now, but there's a Grand Starfall. Where do you run? Stridebreaker will leave Niket out to dry, but it keeps Jatchi alive. In the picture-in-picture, they're diving for the tier 1. They'll get it. Shanji now in a 1 versus 2, but for how long will it be? As RNG need to pray to RNG that someone doesn't pick the right bush. Xiaoshu is clearing the wave, knowing they will likely die here. And they have done what they can to ensure there is no wave to play with.
Oh, well, I think RNG, I think they realize the score now. Look, we don't want to play the fights, we want to play for the side laners, but it's taken them a little too long to realize that. They go towards the tower, yes, they're losing kills, but if they take enough towers, maybe they can extend the game, stop some of the objectives going down, that they can actually play around a late game Camille and a late game Yone.
The problem is, you're trying to place wide map against a Ghostblade strutting Misfortune, a Nidalee who's notoriously fast, and a Pantheon with Symbiotic Souls, one of the singularly most fast, most globally available champions.
Jatchi forced the cleanse, dodges away from the spear, but there's only so much you can do. The poor guy.
Dead.
This is the problem. You try and walk up, and there's just nowhere safe enough now.
Teleport comes in. Niket will dredge line and buffer some of the CC, but there's a cask. And Niket is drunk under the table.
Oh, Niket, 1 and 8 on the Nautilus. Look, I don't even think this is necessarily a bad game for the Nautilus. This is losing game Nautilus scenario, folks, where you're sadly playing against a team which has infinite damage, and you're not that tanky. Baron's going to get started, and look, I think RNG have they've maybe messed around a little bit too much now, and they're going to find out that the Baron is going to probably be the end of their game. I think that'll lead into full court press. You can't defend against these waves well enough. It's going to be very hard now to see out this game.
Look, they Fimbulwintered around, and they found out that having your solo lanes with those items and Unending Despair is really obnoxious. It is very difficult. They can't get the Dragon either, which is sole point, and not going to lie, when you've already got something like the Primal Surge on the Nidalee to help people keep people topped up, and then the double Bruiser, self-healing, bot or mid and top, like that is super obnoxious. Ocean Soul on a Pantheon and a Gragas.
When they're
I don't
tanky.
like, yeah, when they built like this,
Yeah.
I mean, oof.
Also worth noting as well that Ocean Soul ticks while you're in Zhonya's, so the Zhonya's from the Nidalee helps keep you alive there too. RNG have realized the lesson a little too late. You can't really contest this team when they have this kind of advantage. Leave is so powerful too. The Essence Reaver means you can stay out on the map pretty much indefinitely because you never run out of mana. You just keep auto-attacking, you get enough more abilities. RNG, you know, I think if they'd slowed down earlier and played towards their solo lines, I think it could have been fine. You know, Tanyuan is actually even in gold with Doomby in terms of individual gold. And I do think that while, yes, the Pantheon wins the early game matchup, that's not necessarily true for the entire game. We do have a 3-item Camille now. That's something that we said might be able to carry the game. Not when you're 10,000 gold behind. Now we have a hook coming in from the Nautilus. They are still continuing to fight. Doomby not here yet, but will be in range for ult soon.
Flash out from the hook shot from Leave. Nicely timed. Keeps him safe. And now
Doomby's coming,
Xiaoshu
Doomby's
is so
coming.
deep. And the Grand Starfall comes on in. And already the Camille is dead. The Stranglethorns are decent. The Curtain Call also alright, but there's just not enough damage. Hang on, Fate Seal does a lot of work, but there's just not enough in the tank. In another life, in another game, maybe. Just maybe it means something. But the Pantheon is coming. He looks like he's wearing a red coat. We'll head on in to break down the inhibitors and take them to series point.
Oh, NIP, they are just that more coordinated team than RNG. RNG have fought well, but as you can see, they just do not have the stats. NIP, a much quicker game than the first to bring us to 2-0 in the series, leaving RNG on death's door.
There were a few punches thrown early. Bot lane was again pretty interactive and pretty entertaining, but RNG played the map so much better. The fact that any time they tried to do anything, the response was so brutal. They could not kill this Leona without a bullet time flying into their face, without a Pantheon and a Gragas turning up from nowhere. And not so quietly, we saw a very scary Nidalee get 30, 40, 50 CS ahead. That Pantheon became horrifying to manage. And what do you do at that point? The Misfortune never under any realistic threat either.
And one of the things that we praised about NIP in game 1 is that they are pretty good at kind of coming down to earth and understanding what the state of the game is. Say, all right, look, the game has gone this way. How do we work our way out of this? RNG didn't have that this game, and I think that was the big difference maker between the two of them, because I think there were ways that RNG can win with that comp. You know, I think that you get to the point where your solo laners can outvalue, because you look at RNG, NIP, they don't have consistent damage. They have a lot of burst. If Camille gets to split up the fight, if Yone gets to split up the fight, stop the bullet time, you can outdamage them in a longer run team fight. They never got to that point though, because they were 10,000 gold by the time they reached the items they needed.
And then they went looking for the plays, and you go diving on in, and you do it through the charge of the Light Brigade style. A lot of cannons from the left and the right, and suddenly your Yone does not survive any longer. And they were kind of in a position where it was desperation mode, not to put too fine a point on it. You were trying to get onto the backline, but through a Gragas, through a Leona, through a Pantheon, the bullet time wasn't interrupted. It sucks at that point.
Okay, right, folks. I'm gonna go bio break real quick. I'm gonna put some adverts on.
Do it. I'll look after chat, and then I'll trade you.
Cool. All right. Well, might just have one game in sharp left.
All right, I'm gonna steal this check because that went better on the camera. Hi guys. Did you miss me? Love watching Doinby. So glad he's back. Yeah, completely agree. He has been a lot of fun, hasn't he? He's been a lot of fun. I think, yeah, Doinby, very popular, understandably. So he had a really good Pantheon game too. It was a very good Pantheon game. So I understand why players and teams and fans are all like, yeah, this guy's really good right now. What's happening in the T1 HLE series? Ooh, it's tight. I'm saying nothing more than that. Don't want to spoil it. I have it in the background while I'm waiting. Got a break. Milky Way. That's not a bad little Zyra damage number set. Were some good ults. Tried to buy some time, but Jachi, again, it was a decent Jhin game. I don't think those numbers are entirely fair, but like, when on earth did the Jhin actually get to do value? And in this game, the Jhin wasn't supposed to be the carry. The Yone and the Camille were, and again, Xiaoshu is doing half the damage of Shanji in a Camille v Gragas matchup. The Rumble was similarly like 10,000 damage behind. What was it last game? It was Rumble into Ambessa. The Ambessa did like double the damage again. I don't think Xiaoshu is being very valuable this game, unfortunately, or this series, and I think that is potentially going to be a bit of a break point, because I think, honestly, bot lane's been pretty fun. I've been alright with the proactivity I've seen out of Niket and Milky Way. Jachi's made some cool plays himself. I think Leave has probably been the better AD carry, but I don't think that Jachi has been like slouching or slumping himself necessarily. And this is kind of the play where it's like, okay, right, we caught out the Leona. You haven't caught out this Misfortune, and a really good flash. Otherwise, I think Leave is in genuine threat there. Grand Starfall comes on in. It's a decent Stranglethorns, right? But there's no plants under it. There's no real threat. It is a pure disengage ult. Because again, the max value Zyra ult is one where you knock everybody up and you have plants in there that you are resetting and empowering. And that's how you get all the really, really, really nasty damage. And then this play, this was desperation, right? You are trying to dive with a man advantage and you jump onto a Gragas. At this point, you just have to finish the tower, guys. I get that Shanji's on the other side trying to interrupt you, so you kind of felt the need to ult to try and get something, but oof. Oh dear. Ooh, peanuts on Diana, how exciting. Weird old game. And then you start getting to this point, it's like, okay, we're looking at Desperation Station, let's go try and make some picks, but they just don't have enough damage, right? Aki is right back up to full in a matter of moments. And then Xiaoshu is way away, having gone looking for Leave and missed him. And it does feel like in these moments, RNG are not as coordinated as you'd like. Very different target selection choices, and it all goes very wrong. I'll trade you out.
Interesting things were on screen.
Yeah, my face was too.
Howdy, howdy. Right. Yeah, I mean, like, RNG have played better than I thought they would. I thought RNG could be... You know, I thought that particularly top jungle were meant to be much better than the lower tier teams in LPL. But I think that Shouty's not been fantastic. Who's our MVP? Thanks for the follow, by the way. Appreciate it. This is a hell of a name. Doomby's the MVP? Yeah. This guy ran the entire map. Oh, it's great to see Doom being fearless. But yeah, I think that when I look at RNG, I thought that top jungle would be the real stars for them. I think actually, you know, in this series, it's been their bot lane. Bot lane's been fantastic. I think Nikat and Jauchi have both been... Look, I know that Nikat's going to walk away with a pretty crap KDA from that last game, but there's not much you can do there, really. And you can see that he's still, you know, got some development time left to him. Yeah. He's been everywhere, man. Believe in you, Aki. Yeah, Aki's been good. Aki's been good. I think that Tarzan's been my favorite LPL Pantheon still, though. He's been really, really good. 2-1's losing, are they? I mean, I know that they're 2-1, but 2-1 down rather. But I didn't know what was happening in this last game. I thought they was even in this. Well, not last game. In this game. Yeah, they're doing pretty well, aren't they? Actually, I can check in on it. Yeah, this fourth game is pretty even so far. Oh, Faker's going Lichbane Ari. Nice. And he's gone Dark Seal. Nice. Cool. Ari into Yasuo Diana. Like, I like Ari into Yasuo. Ari into Yasuo Diana is really spooky because they do just kind of one-shot you. And even if you manage to flash all out, you die pretty quickly. If they lose, they won't make it international? No. No, they would. There is no lower bracket at this. No, wait. Is there a lower bracket? No, there is a lower bracket, I think. Isn't there? Is there? What do they start in lower bracket? I'll have to check that, actually. I'm not sure. Where's LCK playoffs? Oh yeah. T1 just got a huge fight around Atacon, so that should be their fight anyway now. I think after that they probably win this game. Yeah, it should be going to a game 5. That's cool. Well, it's bad for our viewership, but good for them. Yeah, the Ari, Ari pop off just for me. He does that just for me. Lichbane, Ari, and everything. Nice. Yeah. So there should be. Yeah, no. So if they lose this series, they're out. So the loser of this match is out. So there's no lower bracket for this game. Round 2 has lower bracket, but this one, loser of the series, goes out. So we're losing one of HLE or T1 from this series. Dude, game 5 between Zeus and T1 though? Yeah, that's hypersell. And Doran and actually. Yeah. Battle of kind of, yeah, who won the divorce? 5k up now with Atacon? Yeah, T1 should win this game. They should roll over this now. Faker has 9 stacks and a Dark Seal. Going Zhonya's? Yeah, the Zhonya's is correct for this build too. Okay. Ooh, charm hits. Nice, Faker. But that's all. I mean, I don't know. You've just given Viega resets over, which is not the best thing ever. Oof. Wait, Ona doesn't have, what's it called? Doesn't have Atacon. Faker's been playing super well Atacon. I think Faker's the best Atacon player in the world. He just knows how to force fights very well. You miss Zeus in T1? I mean, I do too, but also good things have to come to an end. I'll leave this off so you can see the score of the series. like, at some point, the T1 era has to end. And I think it gets boring if T1 are the only team that's successful. Like, I would like to see Zeus kind of graduate from T1 and show that he can succeed without T1, you know? Like, I think it's much cooler when you have those kind of... Yeah, those big storylines. Nice. Really good solo lane play from Faker, actually. He was down 1.5k, now he's up 1.5k. This guy's doing fantastic. I think Faker's been very good at figuring out how to use Atacam. He knows how to force plays very well, right? Giving her a free GA is just, yeah, not fair. Faker might be the best engaged player of all time. From a mid lane perspective, anyway. Him and Xiaohu are the two big ones I think of, actually. Xiaohu has always been very good at that. Okay, now you're playing against vision controllers, actually. Not bad from Zekra, actually. Zekra actually plays that pretty damn well. Oh, that's really nice. But it's just the withdrawal, right? Oh no, they get one. No, it's after Atacon's down. Viper cannot carry this, though.
Oh boy.
That was actually really well played by Zekra. Faker kind of outplayed himself a bit there.
Has he picked up the book? No.
Nope.
Oh, that's a very dead spider.
Yeah, well, it's at least support.
Are
Are we really surprised that at least support is dying?
They're trying to buy as much time here as they can. Cocoon's about to come up here. There we go, okay.
Sam, it doesn't matter if he lives, but he's also going to die. There's no way he doesn't die. Like, he's a very, very not fed Elise. But then also... I mean, it actually doesn't matter, this. Wait, he actually kills Sinnoh.
Nah.
Oh, he actually doesn't. What? Holy, what's... Okay, well... T1 get another Baron. Actually, are playing like a heavy dive comp without the stats to use it. We saw that from...
Yeah.
We saw that... Well, no, we
There was a bit in the mid game where like it was a 4-kill Yasuo where the Diana was looking pretty strong.
Yeah, but then they threw around Atacam. Their Atacam was bad.
I saw. It was a steal from Viego and then they lost fight after
Peanut didn't even get to use ult.
No, it was bad. Diana's actually also notoriously not great into Viego in the jungle.
I don't mind it.
Basically because so there was a discussion from a few really high elo Diana mains over on their subreddit. And basically, look, one of the issues eventually, whatever your build, you get outstatted, you lose the 1v1 really hard.
Yeah, but that's the same. Viego is one of the best scaling junglers. Yeah. That's just true in general.
But it's like it happens in mid games also. You go and you ult and you don't, and then Viego steals your body and just turns around. It's really miserable.
Zeus is the shy, I think is what you mean. Yeah, that's the one. T1 will have to do the impossible, win on red side. Wait, is it been only blue side win so far? Oh, that's kind of funny.
Not again.
Because the loser of the series is out.
Yeah.
Like, that yeah.
If it's just blue side wins, that's ridiculous.
But then we get around to this conversation again where, look, if T1 lose, what I think is... I really don't want people to then change their opinion on whether this split matters or not. Make your mind up now whether this split matters. Yes, it does qualify you for an international, so for me it matters. But, like, if you're a fan, make your mind up right now whether this split matters.
For me it matters. I think this is a great showing.
But yeah. Oh, hang on. That's actually not a bad fight for H. Lee, is it? Wait, did H. Lee just win a fight from... Oh my god, they've actually just won a huge fight here. What?
How?
Oh my god, what? How does that work?
What happened? I wasn't paying attention.
Well, that's why we decide right now whether the split matters or not.
How?
This shit's too easy. Well, being an NIP fan right now has got to feel pretty good, man. If they get a tower, that's an objective bounty. Jesus.
How far can they go?
I mean, 20 seconds. I think you want to reset for Dragon, right? You don't want to stay too long. Peanut's got to...
Everyone's down flashes. I'm assuming it's...
I mean, Diana does kill turrets really quickly. It might even get in a turret there. Do you give up Dragon afterwards? So what happens here? Faker goes in. Almost one shot. Oh, Jesus, yeah. He gets ult and gets his passive. Fantastic. Oh my god, it's a 5-man Diana Yasuo. It's a 5-man Yasuo. Oh my god, that's insane.
Massive.
The Moonfall combo. Dude, look, we have LPL to watch, folks.
But this is
Just
really
heads
cool.
out. There's a really good series happening elsewhere too, but that's completely fine. That is an insane combo. Jesus Christ. It's such a... That's what you pick the combo for. And you do not clump up into that. Even with a Viego reset, they can't win through it. Jeez.
Really nice.
That's
I don't know whether it
insane.
wins in the game, but it's nice.
It keeps it alive a lot longer. I think it's
Look
now
at that smirk.
it's now possible.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get ourselves into the draft over here in the LPL, though. Yes, turns out there are some great League of Legends happening today, folks.
over the place.
NIP 2 and 0 RNG. This is where the game gets really difficult for them. Banning away the pocket pick of Milky Way's Kindred. What do they have that actually works as a composition? It felt like last game, they didn't really understand their win conditions. That is a problem with Fearless. You get through to game 3, game 4, whatever, and it is much harder for you to play things that you have practiced on and know much more intimately.
The bans are very much the target ones. Skarner, Cassante still not allowed this game. Rumble's already been used. That would be the other big one. Of course, you're getting rid of the Varus, which is just very potent right now. It feels like you see that getting banned increasing amounts.
There is some question now about, well, what happens with engaged supports? Do they raise up in priority a lot? Do we go for Vi? Vi tends to be one of Aki's best picks. Wukong also pretty strong for him too. Stuff that will determine a composition. Stuff like a Vi, you know how to build around that. So that wouldn't surprise me to see that locked in early. But if you have something in terms of a big support that could change to Viego first pick, now that's not what I expected, but you could go for a Viego Jinx reset comp.
Things like the Ari might then start to be a consideration as well. If Doumbé is feeling like Doumbé, Lissandra. Viego Lissandra was a thing for a while because he used to get the
You
double
can't lane.
resets. It's quite
You
entertaining.
can't lane with Lissandra the
It's
way you want to
pretty
now.
miserable. Okay.
Judge, she's a Felios though
Okay.
instead. This is a very different take on the draft.
It's his most played champion of all time.
It is, but you know, Aphelios is a lot of people's most played champion
Yes,
of all
it
time,
is.
and it's not something that's still even been played this year. So
No.
even our old Aphelios gods are not picking up this champion that often. Would have thought that the Jinx would be a better takeaway. NIP might... Oh, they're doing some different stuff now. Picking the Udyr, which... Udyr and the Rise.
Rise,
I think what they do
ugh.
now, they look for an Udyr lane swap, get Rise starting to orchestrate dives as soon as he hits level 6 after that point.
There was a point, of course, where Aphelios was picked with Scion in lane, so it's because your Severum Crescendum combo, that red-white combo, used to shred plates better than nearly any other AD carry.
So you do it
used
with
to be able to
Scion?
So back when lane swaps were less good, and we saw it, and when we saw people not doing them very regularly, when we did see them occasionally, it
Oh,
was Aphelios
so
and
not
Scion.
Scion support.
No.
I mean, they have the Jax already, so it's probably not... It could be the Jax jungle. They lock in the Thresh Aphelios, but... Yeah, no, Aphelios, as soon as he gets towards... Yes, no, that is a good point. Yes, basically...
lane swapping
if you're
it,
lane
might be
swapping
rough.
Aphelios, kills turrets quickly if you get round to your Crescendum, yes. So, I think Thresh works out well in terms of the remaining bulkier supports left. NIP, they have, you know, strong pushing solo laners. The Udyr and the Rise can push your waves and roam around the map very well. What do NIP want to remove from Tanyuan? I think they want to make sure that Doumbé gets a safer laning phase. Banning away the Galio, that's one. Could also ban away the Orianna potentially too.
I think that would make some sense. It's a relatively big wombo combo. Of course, you've already used the Nocturne, which is often like Orianna's premier combo right now. The Nocturne Orianna felt like a bit of a crutch for G2 at Worlds last year. We saw a little bit around in general. It's just a composition that works very well in Fearless as a draft by itself. There's some PP God champions in the Blitzcrank and the Elise, which can be a bit cretinous. And PP God, at his best, is a cretin of the highest order.
You could go towards a Braum lane. Braum doesn't love Thresh, but I think Orianna's looking okay for Tanyuan right now. That could be a pretty good pick for them. I think PP God in a bit of a weird spot now. You could go for a Renata lane. You could go for a Renata. The question is, what do you pick alongside that? Renata tends to be okay into the Thresh. This would be something very different because, of course, you have either the Jax top or the Jax jungle. You can flex that around. So Xiaoxu you can go for something a little bit weird too if you want. So we're saving maybe that for last pick. I think the Azir is fine. It gives you decent pushing power, good scaling.
Still now waiting on what the jungle option is. Milky will be happy enough with a Jax jungle, I'm sure. And we saw the Mundo here might not be the most fun for some of NIP to manage. Ezreal, the decision by leave.
Ezreal Karma, right? Yeah, that's your lane
level
dominance.
one
Because most enchanters don't lane that well into Thresh. Lulu hates doing that. Ezreal Karma destroys you at level 1. Aphelios isn't a champion at level 1. So NIP now, very strong CV2. They actually, at this point, might not lane swap, and RNG might want to lane swap to get Aphelios onto that open tower, as you're saying, particularly when you can get around to your Crescendum. Problem is you can't do that on your first wave crash. You don't have enough ammunition to get through to do that. But Now RNG choosing between the Jax top and the Jax jungle. I think they go towards Jax chop and then the Jax Sejuani into the jungle. That's what they do. Gives them some engage. They have double long range backliners in the Aphelios and the Azir. They do outrange the Ryze, but the Ezreal of course does contest in range. Obviously he does. I think a lot of this game comes down to how the first few levels play out. Are we getting a lane swap? What happens if you have a lane swap or standard lanes? I think standard lanes favor NIP because the Ezreal Karma is so good at using that. So watch out for those level 1 wards and see how they orchestrate the map.
Have to be the plan. And I think the other thing is you've got the Aphelios Thresh. Back when Aphelios first debuted as a champion, when the 200 years memes were all at their height, Thresh felt like the premier pairing. You gave Aphelios mobility, you allowed him to step forwards in the early lane. Combos with Gravitum allowed you to go for hooks. You just felt like you played around a lot of the different weapons very, very well, whatever Aphelios' rotations were at the time. And it is a big, big team fight comp with a lot of damage. Got a decent amount of split push here. Azir with an Ashes would do fair work if they decide to go towards that route, but Jax by himself would be pretty scary. As you said, NIP, yeah, you've got the Ezreal Karma, which help match some of the range, but you are, with a Ryze, wanting to battle mage a little bit, get on in and throw a load of combos, run around with a phase rush, and the last time we saw it do and be on Ryze, he was truly exceptional. There were some plays in that one that were generational highlight stuff. See whether he can pull it out again here today. Not sure whether it's as great a matchup as it was into the LeBlanc and some of those squishier members last time. Might be a little bit harder to navigate some of these fights for him.
So, get into the rift for potentially what could be the last time today. RNG, if they lose this series, they are in dire straits. Not technically out, but it's about as good as it. Their fate would be out of their hands as the Jazz ring out.
Some of the RNG fans feeling a little bit more despondent after the 2-0. The first game felt really competitive. The second one slipped away from them moment by moment. There were a couple plays early on. I remember that nice 1v1 from Jachi into the Gragas, that kind of thing. And
stops the recall here. You can do it. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Jachi stopped from recalling. That's a bit of a problem. What did we say? The level 1, very important. You can see RNG, really good defensive wards down the map. Leaf, can you stop it again? He does, yeah. You can see, you know, they put down the wards at RNG across the river. They put one down here too, just to try and spot out what was happening with the early moves. But now what this means is that NIP might have been able to force a level 1. Well, I would have liked them to force standard lanes. They stopped Jachi from getting towards the place that they want.
They might catch out Xiaoshu here, though.
Yeah, and they'll spot this, but they're not going towards matching the swap. I think that's a mistake. I do think that's a mistake. Even though I did say, oh, you know, Udyr is good in a 1v1, especially early on. He can push the lane very, very well.
He's going to get access to the wave, which isn't always a guarantee, at least for Shanji.
Yeah, for sure. There was a chance that he could just ult the wave level 1 to say, right, just get some XP, but not going to be the case. Jachi Niket, fine at kind of walking up. The Aftershock picked up by the Thresh. They're not the Guardian. The E level 1 goods harassed typically, but it's the shield start on the Udyr. Shanji was very good on Udyr lane swaps this time last year. It was when actually the lane swaps came out again from NIP. They did it with Photic and Draw. But Shanji on the Udyr was a big part of that too, being able to survive the dive so well.
And of course, thank you for spotting out that it was Aftershock, because of course it's the soul counter that we see on the scoreboard, so not as easy to figure out what the runes are until you see them in action.
I prefer it when they have the stacks a little bit separately. I like knowing what the runes are as well. Gank into mid lane. Aki, is he going to flash for anything? Milky Way's here.
Nice bait. Do and B, getting a passive coming down, but Aki doing a lot of work back. The Aki still comes up forward. Flash for the Flay, forces Aki to flash in turn. The Ignite down as well. Can they find the death sentence? No, they cannot. Sentence abstained.
Yeah, there's the ink removed from the paper. Shanji walking at Jachi.
It's Ghost Pops.
He's yeah, it is from Jachi. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I forgot that he was even running the Ghost. I'm not going to lie on that one. Means that Niket might go towards him like... Well, he could go towards the Mikhail's first item if you think there's a problem with specific CC, especially against the Rune Prism. But either way, you can go for the Ghost because the Thresh is meant to guarantee your safety.
And Shanji has got access to the wave. Xiaoshu has a grand total of 1 singular minion. I don't even think it was... I'm not even sure if it was a cannon. I think he's just got a minion. He can't even step forward to get those autos. Can't leap strike in. If he does, he dies. It would be horrible. And Shanji, again, in these lane swaps.
Oh,
just
misses the cannon. Misses the cannon. Our observers will never let you get away with that one. I think that Niket made a mistake there. You wait for the gravity to come through, and then you hit the Q on them, because it's a free death sentence at that point. Milky Way now up and towards the top side. I do think Shanji, having level 4 makes it a lot harder to deal with this. He can just ult the wave now if he wants. Hook misses again. Look, if you've got the Gravitum on Aphelios, you normally want to play around that. I guess the problem there is that Aphelios would have to take aggro to land the mark on them in the first place. So Niket was just trying to see if he could out-mind game. Sadly can't. And it does mean that NIP getting more in the top lane side of this lane swap in terms of the actual gold. Will say, though, getting the Aphelios and the Thresh through the first few levels of the game against what would have been an Ezreal Karma lane, though, I think that's a win for RNG.
I recall back when we first started casting, we were looking at the likes of Art in the bot lane, in the LJL, trying to play the Ezreal Karma into the Aphelios Thresh and try and manage it early on to mixed success. We saw it go both ways out there, but that was a very common pairing back in 2020.
The thing is, what we're doing is we're referencing a minor region from 2020, which people didn't even watch at the time besides us.
I was reminiscing with you. It was a good time.
That's great, but all of the other people were like, who the hell is this dude called Art? He was an AD carry that played for Rascal Jester, who was really good.
He was good, wasn't he?
He was great. It was awesome.
I miss Art.
I do have fond memories. I also accept most people will not remember these teams.
We will, Alex, and that matters.
It does. It does. So, early levels, as we said, I think they favor RNG, because it does get the Aphelios out of that early lane phase. Even-ish in gold, the CS is basically the same. You're happy with that.
Janchi, of course, did burn the Ghost, and there is no Thresh or anyone around, so there's always that world with Udyr where he just suddenly says, you know what? Had enough just playing into my turret, and runs at you.
Okay, so you can't do that now, because the Gravitum, next time he presses Q, he'll get round to Severum. Severum Crescendum
lets you run away.
Well, it doesn't let you run away, it lets you kill the dude. Because you just start spinning your arms around and red stuff flies everywhere, and then the Crescendo gets stacked up too. So it's really not that nice. That's a stun onto Xiaoshu, which lands some poke to land. Xiaoshu not had a great series, not had a great early game, but that one is actually more about the lane swap.
I threw a bit of criticism at him last game as well. Was half the damage of Agragas again. Was half the damage in the first game as Rumble as well. Like, he's just not been involved in the way he needs to be. Looking for a shuffle.
Flashed.
Does get the flash, but Doomby now needs to be aware. Death sentence lands, won't go any further. Doomby down that side.
Landing the skill shot looks nice. There is in fact no follow-up as Milky Way clicked the other way. It wouldn't have been able to kill him anyway, realistically, not with...
Sending a message, Alex.
Sending a sentence for sure. Full grubs taken by NAP on the top side. And yeah, I mean, Udyr is completely fine with this state of affairs as it stands. You know, I did see a comment saying, hey, you know, Udyr's a bit strange, isn't it? Udyr's much better at surviving lane swaps, and because of Fimbulwinter, actually goes out of a lane swap and still remains to be quite tacky after that point. He actually has himself Crescendum, Calibrum, the rifle turrets, one of my favorite combos. You can put down an extra turret here with the last of your armor if you really want to as well. Really good ability to just take down those turret plates. Or there's Ezreal Karma's doing it through raw laning ability. NIP.
Burn the Ghost, try to get some damage back, and a Heartbreaker ensures that Leave gets the kill with an auto and a Q.
Doomby is loving playing these no TP champions. Pantheon one game, Rise the next, and his global usage has been very, very impactful. First turret's going to be taken on top side because the Ezreal Karma has been pushing quicker, poking harder, getting more out of it. They are now ahead, but still, at least the Aphelios is surviving. You can just see that NIP's mid laner has been so much better at orchestrating the map.
It's come at the cost of a wave for mid lane, but that's it. When you get first turret and a kill, you take a lost wave for that any day of the week.
And I think, yeah, especially once you get to kind of flip the map in your advantage. That's always been the Doomby thing. He's always been his thing. Now, that doesn't mean that Doomby doesn't lane. Of course he does. And I know there are some whatever stats from quotes from 2019 where Doomby was said to be, oh, you know, he's not the best laner of the top mid laners and blah blah blah. And there was actually some.
It was true. Yeah.
There was, but then occasionally you pull out the Rise and prove you're completely wrong because his Rise was actually really, really good. And the thing about his Rise and why it is so strong for Doomby, and I know that so many people think of Faker when they think of Rise, and that's true. Doomby's Rise has always been the champion he was best at laning on and also getting out onto the map. The super carry Doomby really came about with picks like the Rise, alongside, well, it was his Cassidon as well.
Back in the day on Shadow Reapers, yeah,
his Renekton and his Kled mid. I love the complexity of this guy's mind. He will just really just outthink you in terms of the strategy of League of Legends.
we find ourselves in probably the slowest early game of the series.
Yeah, well, I mean, the lane swap was fairly intricate. I think there were some fun things around that, but as we said, the important thing was the first few levels, and they kept looking at people.
Catch him! Doesn't matter about the flash. It doesn't matter what you want. Can you smell what the mid lane shuffle is cooking? Tangyuan is now the rock in my mind, sorry.
And Niket ends up getting the kill there, as the Alt W from PP God gave a sudden burst of healing. They didn't necessarily want to chance that one. Tangyuan crashed the ult. Kill for RNG though, takes the support off the map, of course. One of the things which I think we'll see around all Fearless games as they get later into the series, supports need to learn how to ward on enchanters again. It is very different from loading on... Like, if that's a Leona they go towards there, Leona lives. Because it's a Karma, Karma dies. They do not have the same safety as a melee support.
And PP God is occasionally known for overstepping. In fact, honestly, last game it felt like he was. Again, don't get me wrong, he was the person who was supposed to be going to do vision. He had leave behind him, but was often the recipient of a lot of CC and attempts on his life that left him greatly scarred. It just turned out that the unlimited power was in Leave's back pocket, not his, and you'd throw out the giant waves of bullets rather than lightning. But, you know, the analogy, I think, stands. And at least Jachi gotten towards a pickaxe, gotten towards the early Berserker Greaves, can kind of scale up just fine on the Cephalios now. Is going to have to, right? Is being tasked with good team fighting this game.
I don't think Aphelios is in a bad spot. I know it looks kind of bad with the 700 gold down. I think Aphelios is okay. I mean, it's still going to suck for a little while. The question is whether RNG can once again kind of survive to the point where you do have the items to carry the team fight. Yes, Aphelios will be good. Azir will be fine too. He's going towards the tankier build as the ults go wide, but Leaf says, okay, I'll jump forward anyway. But yeah, I mean, I look at this team from RNG. If they get to 2.5 to 3 items, they should win on paper. But I just don't think that it'll be easy to get there, because NIP have shown time and time again they are better at playing the map, better at playing the objective, and they don't let RNG just sleep their way into a winning team fight.
Second set of grubs going to be uncontested here. Going for a flash forward as Leave went eating in. Cleanse has to come on through. There's the flash after. Both summoners now down. Moonlight Vigil empowered by Severin brings Jachi right back to very high HP. He's got the Ghost running but cannot close the distance.
Sick 3-weapon switch by Jachi. Niket flashing in at the right time. You can see how badly they get bullied by this combo, but if you get the burst on the way back, you can win the lane. That's going to unlock a dragon for RNG, unexpectedly so. Leaving PP God playing the slower lane better, but Jachi and Niket find their moment to at least relieve some pressure.
And head on over to this. PP God still looking for an angle, needs to be able to defend us. Here comes the Realm Walk, tried to read where the Karma went. Doomby's here with Aki, flash on forwards, and that'll leave Thresh out to dry. Goes down, trying to play one now. It's Jachi with the Severum and the Crescendum, but even with the healing, can't quite get PP Gods. And Xiaoshu and Tangyuan nowhere to be seen. The Realm Warp brings in more members.
Yeah, and Tangyuan couldn't stop Durnby this time. If you can stop the Realm Warp, that's a one player, but couldn't quite match him quickly enough. Durnby popped the flash and the Ghost, manages to get that global ultimate, really making an impact one more time. He has been the global mid laner in the world right now. See right now, you know, Milky Way tries to guess the dodge, doesn't guess it right. Tangyuan doesn't manage to stop the rise because he's afraid of Aki really going onto him as well. It's not a bad play from Jachi to try and turn around to PP God, but PP God really outplays you with the Alt W.
And Jachi trying to get in range, can't get the last auto. Even with all those chakrams stacked up. Now your Ezreal's 2-0-1. Still going to be down that flash, but hey, Jachi had to burn his summoners now as well. Tangyuan late to the draw, doesn't interrupt the ult. I think Aki, if I saw the particles, right to flash to get into the Realm Warp in time.
Oh, that's going to be nasty.
Gonna be rummed at. But here's Milky Way to try and defend. I don't think it matters though. Not there in time.
Shouldn't really be walking up like that. You don't have your Thresh. Your jungler is obviously too far away to help you as well. This is definitely one of those moments where you see the veterancy of an AD carry being called into question just a little bit. You shouldn't really walk up there.
No, and the problem definitely hurts on that one. Okay, it's a lot of damage as Leave once again feeling empowered to go forwards, and now Leave 3-0-1. This Ezreal is off to the races and was going to have to be a lot of the range damage this game, just off the profiles of these champions. Viego and the Rise and the Udyr, all pretty damn short range, really, in the grand scheme of things. Ezreal, the one notable exception to that. Karma in a weird spot as a support.
Yeah, later into the game it just won't matter that much. You know, the Azir is going towards the tankier build, which means that it's less about the DPS, but you're still going to be fine kind of playing through your bed as well. Milky Way, yeah, you don't win against a Viego in a 1v1, especially at this point in the game at these kind of gold values. It does have Heartsteel, so maybe you can get a free stack out of it, but doesn't really want to stick around and find out.
Does he want to go over the wall? Glacial Prison lands into the death sentence. It's a decent hook. Flay will come on through afterwards, and then there to up the Heartbreaker out, but there's just a way to run. Gonna donate the kill over to the Aphelios, and they get the punish. Milky Way sticks around, calls over the cavalry.
Yeah, nice Sejuani into the Thresh. There's no Mikhails or anything like that just yet from the Karma, so no cleanse for him. Gets a really good CC combo to make sure RNG not quite getting locked out of the map. It gives them, again, just a bit of a pressure valve.
And again, the Heartbreaker was into the walls of the box, so even once you ulted away, you were slowed. Even with the Karma shields, it don't matter. Does look like Milky Way's turning up top. Sejuani plus Jax, a pretty potent combo. Force a flash, gets the slow, looking for the permafrost. Does come on down. Shanji now going to be slowed with the empowered smite. And a leap strike secures, but it is Milky Way that gets it. Tangy one in danger, needs to be careful. Shuffles 2 away and slides on out.
It's a good shuffle. I didn't think he was going to make his way out of that without burning the flash minimum, but be able to do that one. There could still be a dive, but the Thresh here to support. Nicat turning up just in time. And IP losing out a little bit in terms of the map state, which they've typically been managing quite well so far. It's typically been where they've been winning this series, so not necessarily the best showing for them. I was worried that RNG wouldn't be able to play this competition that well. It's quite a hard competition to play, but credit to them. 3 games in, bit irregular in terms of the current meta. We don't see Sejuani Thresh as a combo that much as a jungle support. They've played that well, and that gives some hope for them. The gold's not completely out of proportion yet.
Yeah, just where the gold is. 1,200 gold on an Ezreal can be a bit scary, especially if he gets to Muramana on a good clip, which he will be as it stands. Could really be a threat in this game, especially if he keeps landing good Q accuracy like that. Jachi gone for the Collector first. It was an old school Aphelios choice. Turns to level up, and pick lethality is his level up stat choice. Aphelios gets the 2 stats on level up, by the way.
Okay, so that's not, so you don't go lethality first, because you go no, so even what happens with the lethality things, like in every Aphelios build, it has always been AD max first.
Yes.
So when you say, oh, you're lethality maxing, what you really mean is you're lethality maxing second, because you have a choice of 3 things, right? You have AD, attack speed, and lethality. Right now, and for a long time, you have gone AD into lethality, especially when you're playing towards, you know, Onslaught, which attack speed doesn't affect the rate at which you spin around and deal damage, and then the rifle turret, similar kind of thing. If you go Collector and you also start leveling up your lethality, your mid-game spike on that item is absolutely insane. Now, the question is, can you get to that mid-game spike safely and also deal damage well enough? You do have a frontline, you do have a Thresh who can help, but can he really be the game changer right now? It's quite hard.
Turret falls, was attacked a few times. RNG put some effort into trying to defend it. Succeeded the 1 time, but not the other. RNG now 3 turrets to none, including a tier 2, which of course is very, very valuable. The Azir at least holding court in the bot lane for some value, but this will be Herald as well. 6 grubs, Dragon, Herald, that's a lot.
Such a dangerous point to play through, because Ezreal is so fed at 3-0-1, benefiting a lot. Look, I know technically the Aphelios benefits from the lane swap by not laning against the Ezreal. The Ezreal has still gained a ton of gold, and that's a problem, because now you're going to have feats of strength, 2-item Ezreal with a Herald with 6 grubs to force on the map. That is so hard for RNG to wait out, because now it is RNG trying to extend the timer of this game so their carries can take over. It is very hard to do so against this power spike, though.
Shanji now in danger. The hook lands. That'll be a big flay back into the shuffle, trying to go down, and he does get burned. The flash not going to be enough to come and help save from PP God, who wanted to try and get in and help on out there. They get the pick. They don't quite get the turret as yet. Jax splitting in the top side, has teleport, could join, but might want to play for the tier 1 up there instead.
And it's so good. Clean kill. That's a nice one. Just as NIP were roaming towards it, when we have ourselves
Fnatic pause hat.
Pause. So, why? Why was that the case? Doomby didn't have ult. Was it a peripheral issue? Aki is... Well, this tends to be the camera of shame, folks. Whoever the camera focused on as soon as you get out of the replay tends to be the person that calls the pause. Looks like it's an NIP one. Aki was the first one focused on. He wasn't at that play, though, right? So I assume either... Wait, did they summon a Herald? Did I miss that on the minimap?
Herald was still in the inventory from what I saw there, so I don't think so.
So I was wondering if it might have been a random Herald bug which happened off screen. Or not likely to be the case. Might just be some peripheral stuff which is happening.
I'm enjoying the kind of pause music here as well. We've got like a sort of like little circusy brass band theme.
I can't wait for that to get copyright struck.
Copyright on my days, that'd be so annoying.
Whatever, it's happened now.
I'm going to scream.
They will.
We probably ought to send a message and go, hey, by the way, really annoying for co-streamers.
Yeah, but okay, but the thing is, right, so if you're streaming this in China, then the licensing laws are very, very different, because international licensing laws don't tend to apply within China. No. But however, we are not within China, so we still have to apply. We have different licensing laws which apply to us, and while that's not something which yeah, you lean back there, you get comfy. That's not something which realistically, you know, Clean Feed can sort out for us. That's not really a thing we can do. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. It's whatever. It just means that, yeah, it's being convenient. Well, RNG. I mean, we've been saying this a lot, folks, and we probably have been talking maybe about RNG even too much, but still, RNG playing a lot better than I thought they would do. I think there's different members which have been playing better than I thought they would do. Coming into the split, I thought it'd be about Xiaoshu and Milky Way. I think Milky Way's been pretty good. I think actually, though, Jachi and now Niket in this series have been pretty impressive for me. Niket on the Nautilus game, I'm willing to write off a handful of those deaths because you're just losing melee support in a ridiculous scenario. Had really good 2v2s. I think in this game as well, managing to find some ways against Leave and PP God. And the reason why this is important is I really rate Leave and PP God right now. The fact that Niket and Jachi have done a good enough job to contest them is actually very notable, considering that, you know, Jachi's a rookie, Niket was a rookie last summer. Both of these players, I think, are playing at an LPL level, and that's a good thing for rookies. It's not always a given that.
No, and I do still think that obviously Leave and PP God are playing slightly better. It is fair to say they have actually, particularly in the mid game, really come alive, but it's not like Jachi and Niket haven't thrown punches, have completely been walked over, which sometimes just happens in the LPL, right?
Anyway, folks, we do have a draft actually in LCK.
Oh, what's happening there?
T1 managed to get Skarner on red side.
Oh my!
I think
Intro for Kalista?
Blue side has won every single game in that series. So there's Kalista Renata,
Oh my.
Draven Soraka, yeah, game 5 fearless man.
Soraka.
Dude, I have to say, you know, it does bring back a few memories of like, for those of you that watched back in the OGN days of LCK, the game 5 blind pick, which was really fun back in the day. There were less bans back then, so it was less about getting rid of bans. It was much more about picking something unexpected. Yeah, of course.
So we got Shen v Shen, Zed v Zed.
But what it meant is that every player potentially got their best champion, which was really cool. So you'd have everyone with their best champions. You know, weirdly enough, blind pick was brought back very briefly in 2020 for the replacement tournament for MSI when it didn't run. 2020 we had the mid-season cup, which was just LPL versus LCK because they could play it remotely from their home facilities with a bit of ping. Top Esports won that, by the way.
I remember.
Yeah, Top Esports actually do have an international tournament.
Was that the debut of Knight at that point? I'm trying to remember when he came in.
Knight was around before 2020, but that was his international debut. Yeah, it was his international debut. But yeah, that was game 1 blind pick in those best of 5s. But the problem is, a load of teams it was like picking Elise out of meta to try and do something weird, and it just didn't work. But I didn't mind blind pick back then because I understand people liking fearless because it's, you know, brings you variety. Blind pick though means that players do get to play their best champions because typically more bans means you're playing worse champions. That's the theory of it. But it does mean you get more variety.
So Britain's gone wild.
Anyway, back into the game for sure.
Missing ult. Xiaoshu, though, will be able to claim this top turret. And a reminder what happened. There was a play bot. Jachi got a kill. Helps keep him within touching distance. Still behind this Ezreal, but it's like the kills matter a lot to keeping this Aphelios useful. No, my day's just about out of range. But Aki was waiting. Flash away from Jachi, keeps him alive for a moment. But the overload spread gets the kill with a bit of spell flux.
Oh, so close to getting out. I wonder whether Niket could have lantern flash to get that extra distance, though. I don't think they respected the Rise coming in with the Realm Warp. And just as we were saying, you know, well, RNG, if they survive through items, maybe that could work really well. It's just so hard to do that against this power spike. Herald comes in, 6 scrubs for NIP. They start to turn on the afterburners. It's sad to see this happen after a pause. The more veteran teams tend to work better after pauses because they just tend to have their heads in the game a little bit better on stage.
The Rune Prism prevented Jachi immediately picking up the Lantern. Aki got in range to punish. The flash out wasn't enough because Spell Flux through the Thresh. Like, that is so frustrating.
Oh, that's got to be a heartbreaker, actually. Suddenly 5k down in gold, things starting to destabilize. NIP, another great forced play. NIP, one of my favorite teams to watch in the world right now because they're so on the right page when they go for a play. They are decisive. And I think, you know, so even a lot of our other top LPL teams are not this decisive. They might even be the most decisive team in the league right now. BLG kind of get away with it because they're so good laners that they have the extra second to move on the map because they pushed in a wave a little bit faster because they've destroyed lanes so hard.
Yeah.
And we've seen from teams even like AL, JDG, Weibo, they have misjudged their calls quite a lot more than NIP have.
And I look at this team, and it reminds me a little bit of LNG when it was Scout and Tarzan, when they would be really, really good at playing for turrets in the sideline. Now, I think NIP are more aggressive. They do it more with overloads and moving lots of members to get kills as well with those turrets. But that kind of map awareness, that kind of ability to come into a mid-game with champions that have value in a side lane
why
is really
is
good.
Aki here?
He's okay.
Yeah, he's fine. I was just wondering why he was sat between both jungle and mid lane. But hey, he was sat in the harrowed path, so he was okay with that for now.
There's a low road and a high road, and apparently Aki has decided to go for the edgy middle path. It's like being a grey Jedi, guys. Like, don't be a fanfiction person.
Swing and a miss.
They both threw them at the same time. That's unfortunate. True shot barrage stings. 2B flashing, but an ult over the wall. Not going to be quite enough to a flash forward for the Spectral Maul onto Niket, who's still running away really fast, but a flash Q secures the kill.
Leave picks up the kill, but Aki feeling it so much this split. For someone who had maybe his worst year in his career last year, getting subbed out for the first time, really having a comeback in 2025 as it stands so far. He's managed to come in with a real amount of wind in his sails. Jachi now trying to push in this mid lane. Tanuen forcing forwards again, but RNG another play which destabilizes the game for them. They just can't deal with NIP's power spikes.
Mantra Q the wave, turret disappears, they don't even get the mid tier 1. Atakan well secured. Xiaoshu had to shove this wave all the way from the inhibitor turret. Really difficult to get involved now, and that's nearly a 2,000 gold lead individually in the bot lane. Mid lane, despite being down 20 odd CS, is still actually a gold lead for this Rise because of how well involved they are. The Viego is ahead of curve, gone towards the Sundered Sky as well for that bit of burst and survivability that Viego really values into games where he has to be a little bit frontliner before he picks up a kill. Black Cleaver just completed as well. NIP hitting some very nasty item spikes right now.
Oh, and it's yeah. This is where the worst of it will happen. The problem is, it's the worst of it happening, and this is part of the reason for the meta, right? It's the worst of it happening as Atakan is spawning.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why Ezreal has been so powerful. Corki similar. Champions which spike at 2 items get to use that 2-item spike, and in this case even beyond that because they're so fed at the Atakan fight. You don't get to just like let that objective go as well. So you have to square up to them. Turrets being falling. And yeah, it reminds me of when, you know, the fight was really around 3rd dragon. That's when the 2-item spikes happen. And actually, did it matter when it was actually about 1st dragon or 4th dragon just for the soul? It's been a big change. Ult misses, and Shanji, well, he's got an Atakan anyway. He doesn't have to care about this too much. As yeah, RNG. There's not many options left for them.
Very low percentage picks because they can't just go for straight up wins. They have to go for the bigger ones, and it's just not hitting. It was going to be hard at this point. If Thalios hit 2 items, great news. I just fear that the damage just isn't going to be there, and the front line cannot stand. 2B just stands and delivers in a 1v2. He is very, very scary. The Rod of Ages just fully stacked. He's got a Seraphs. That Rise is critical mass.
Yeah, so all of these things we said, oh, they've hit their power spike. This is like the apex of it. It doesn't get much worse than this for RNG. And RNG, they're trying to walk forward, but they don't even have their ults now, right? That's a Realm Warp. Oh, that's a nasty force.
Oh, no, that's brutal. Shanji just walks casually away, and in comes the rest of the team, a double for the side of Leave already, who is saying RNG will be leaving the venue with a disappointing 0 and 3. Surely in short order. They're playing with the Atakan buffs for a little bit. Still gets one on the way out, by the way, with that fadeaway Q.
Tower dies the Nexus. It wasn't the fadeaway Q, it was just the last auto attack. Flying through the air. Would have been body blocked. The correct decision there to say, alright, you can't block the auto attack. You don't have a Braum shield.
I made some assumptions. I'm sorry, I didn't see what it was.
How dare you?
I know,
How dare
right?
you do that? Wow.
I said it confidently, so people wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you do that, Sam. I hold you to a high standard,
That's
Sam.
a lie.
You know, if Sam has, you know, one hater,
It's you.
It's
Yeah,
me.
I know.
Yeah. It's because I hate him because I actually, you know, I'm just going to stop now. It's going to go. So Leave is like, okay, yep, Atakan, find that. Red buff's ticking on him.
Oh,
no.
you're right.
It's the red buff afterwards.
Okay,
yeah,
that's all
because
okay.
the body block came through,
Okay,
Sam.
that's fair. That's okay. You know what? You're right.
Because Sam, I was watching what he was doing at the end of that play.
I was thinking of cool things to say.
Cool. Make sure they're correct things next time, Sam.
Okay.
I'm watching you.
Sure you are.
Sam.
It's quite scary. Please look at the screen.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at you now.
I
Sam.
know. He's just turned his head sideways, guys. There's a little bit of the Exorcist.
Every time he
style
says something
happening right
now, I'm just gonna call him out.
Sort of like a really angry owl. That's the one. He's turning his head sideways. It's like that librarian thing from Avatar.
That or the giant owly thing from Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that one too. Yeah. Quite uncomfortable. I'm not.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're human? There's something slightly off about you sometimes, Alex.
Sam, you realise that if we're brothers, this also implicates you.
Who knows? Maybe you're a changeling.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Well, the thing is that I'm too recognisable with cheekbones. I can change it to anyone with significant cheekbones.
We're gonna go for a little play here, Milky Way? Thinking about it?
I don't think...
Sit in the bush?
I don't think it's going to work, Sam.
No,
He's got upgraded
that's fine.
moped, Sam. He's got
Be a bad idea. There's no one there around, are
He's
there?
got like the Mercury's Crushers or whatever they
He's
are.
not leaving.
Why-
I need to go back down. The octaves back down. There we go.
I don't really know what was achieved through that, Sam.
I was having fun, Alex.
Yeah, you know what?
He's still there.
He really is just still... Really is still there.
He's just still there. Yep, never
Just
leaving.
hanging out of the bush there.
Just gonna try and make sure that no one knows he's there.
Baron's
Baron's
been
been started.
A bit of a Baron steal. He's
Baron
gonna come
started.
up with the Q and the flash.
No one's clipping this, please.
Well, hey, you hear that one about Milky Way with the high-pitched voices and a Baron steal? He's coming around. He was
got a
going to
flash
spot
and
this
dream.
out a little bit too early, though. He's been spotted. They should know that the HP is going down, but yeah, he's just going to get forced off. Approached a little too early.
She got taken down somehow to a 3rd HP.
Hang
no
on.
way, not with a Q steal. Hang on. Doesn't get stolen, but there's a realm warp, and Jachi gets over the wall. It's not really going to matter all that much, and the hope and a dream, the high-pitched voices mean very little. They're only squealing in pain at this point as Jachi is Jachi G. He is not having fun again this time around. Leave and the rest of the squad go popping some heads. It's CSGO, and the headshots abound.
No, it's ChatGPT looks a little bit more like a bot in this one, sadly. You've typed in the prompts, and all they've come back are negative. Sorry, can you rephrase the question? Good start on the game from the Aphelios. Really just hasn't been able to be played around. As soon as we came out of that pause, NIP turn on the afterburners, and if there is one thing this team is, they are decisive.
They've got 15 seconds on Jachi respawning. Maybe they can hold at the turrets. They'll have to try. I don't think NIP can just end the game here unless they want to take a fight. And they'll just say, look, we got a load of gold. We just got Baron. We're going to reset. And we'll play to end on that shove after. They'll go instead towards mid lane while they've got this opportunity. And I improved Alaya in trade. Milky Way steps forward. It's decent hope. But again, the follow-up just can't be there.
Doesn't care. It just doesn't matter to him. He has the Mercury magic shields as well. Hook goes wide this time. They are down for like 12,000 gold.
So much gold.
Hit them with a wallets, NIP.
It's not a wallet. It's a bloody bank vault. It's coming on in and dropping out of the heavens like a 10-ton anvil. Someone queue up Looney Tunes. It is all over now, folks. And they'll see you next time. Jachi down again as Leave just isn't missing. Skill shot accuracy as he fires a W behind him. I saw that.
He does that one for style. He knows he's got the stats and he knows he's got a team right behind him, and that's an ult going wide.
Oh, someone queue up the Call of Duty montage and hit up some 30 seconds to Mars. It is a bit of a shooting gallery out here, and a nuclear warhead coming in with a 25 kill streak at this point. One back onto the Viego isn't bad. As Tanyuan goes looking for PP God and Leave and can't quite find them, but the disengage is good and the dancing shoes are well and truly on. NIP, not a problem at all. The ninjas are in pajamas because they're putting this series to bed.
What a statement series from the AD carry of ninjas in pajamas. This guy may just well be the next big thing in the LPL as NIP close out the series and go top in the group 3-0 against RNG.
Earlier points in the series, RNG threw some punches. It was exciting stuff. We saw a decent enough early game in game 2, but that game 3, the lane swap into that, just much better mid game, using the Ezreal power spike to really force structures. It was 5-1 in towers for the longest time. Ninjas in pajamas looking like the best mid game team in the whole league right now.
They're definitely up there. And they look happy doing it too. And that's a great thing to see. They've got good vibes again. You know, Shanji, Aki, PP got their players which have come on teams which have been underdogs and they punched above their weight before. I think this is their actual time to be on a team which could genuinely be top tier. I mean, yeah, there was some V5 stuff in the past too, right? But for PP God, right? But I think I look at this NIP team, I trust in them to evolve because Doinby has been there at the top of the game before. He's innovative in Fearless Draft. He gives them different options. This is their split to do something. This is their one split of Fearless Draft in the year. You get one of this. And yes, you can build stuff off from it. I'm really glad that DMB has come to lead this team. Clearly, there are very, very talented players. Taking the burden off of their shoulders to be the general, to be the leader of this team has led to absolute wonders for NIP. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed our LPL coverage today. My name's Nymaera. This is Initialise. We're brothers. We cast the LPL. We do it from here because there's no official English broadcast anymore. And we figured, hey, we're pretty good at our jobs. We've done this for a year already. We did this last year and covered 200 LPL games that would have been lost to history. You can find them right here on this channel. Or you can find the highlights of them potentially as well over on Onivia as well, where we're also streaming today. If you have enjoyed our coverage, drop a follow, drop a like, drop Prime subs on our Twitch channel if you'd like to do that as well. But most importantly, tune in and enjoy what we're doing. That's the most that we can ask from you there as well. It means a lot to us. Sam, you also got your own stream up as well. Are you going to go stream after this?
I am not, because I've got a meeting, and I've got two best of threes for NLC this evening, so I'm going to pass off on that one today. I'll be back tomorrow for some more streaming, but today, I don't think the timings are going to work.
That's completely fine. So if you do have room in your Twitch following list for another Twitch follow, Initialise cast Nymaera with an underscore as well. You can follow updates from us from our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Blue Sky, we're on things. We have Discords.
We do.
Come catch up with us there and join the LPL community. We'd love to have you, and it's been great to see so many people joining the chat, whether they're new to League of Legends or old. It means a lot to us that you're around enjoying some LPL, because these kind of games, seeing, you know, the re-emergence of DMB, potentially a new chapter in a great AD carry's life and Leave. You know what? I cannot wait to see if we get ourselves a matchup between someone like Leave and 1xN again. Because for me now, the battle for the next great LPL AD carry is between 1xN and Leave. Leave, fantastic series here. 1xN never really had the team to shine in the way that Leave potentially has now, but on an individual level, I'd love to see the two of them fight for the crown of the next best thing for the LPL AD carries.
I am such a 1xN enjoyer. I know where my bias is, but the thing is, you can have that bias and still go, oh dear, Leave might just break his ankles. Because when you're seeing games like this, you go, yeah, that was really good laning, bluntly. They earned that lead off the lane swap, but you've got to still pilot it really well. And outside of, I think, the early flubs in game 1, it has generally felt like Leave was just that slight tier above. He's got that bit more experience. He was straight magic on that Kai'Sa, eventually became so damn threatening, and I think he may well be in with an MVP choice again here. He did so much work with that gold. Look at the difference.
I mean, the RNG tried to lane swap to get away from the Ezreal. All that did is slightly delay the issue, and that was just the issue. Eventually, they had to face up against the Ezreal, and they couldn't last until the late game. You know, I thought the RNG played potentially better than I thought they would. I still think the solo lanes of RNG left a lot to be desired. I think that Judgy and Niket, clearly the worst bot lane to Leave and PP God, but I consider Leave and PP God to be very, very good, and the fact that they at least contested, I think that's better than a lot of RNG fans would have expected today, so I'm not going to criticize them for that. They had their moments. I'm happy with them on an individual level, and I think that they should probably let that duo build up into the LPL. NIP were clearly better at the macro. They were clearly better at understanding their win conditions, and Doinby marshalling the map for them has been such a big boon. I love watching this team.
I also feel like, for me, that's also freed up people like Aki to look like they are more confident on the map again, because it doesn't feel like you hit the mid game on the wrong champion, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. When you have other people giving you a bit of structure, it can really help look very good. And then you have moments like this from Aki where he reads where the lantern's going to be, gets to make this play with DMB coming up for a bit of a spell flux burst to bring down the AD carry, and you start having moments like this from RNG as well, to try to pick off PP God, miss all the CC, and allow a lot of freedom for the chase down key. Apparently you have got an Ezreal, a Ryze, a Viego, people who can keep going forwards. They've got a lot of tools to do that. Sometimes you think those tools are disengaged, and reminder, you can arcane shift forwards, you can just face rush forwards. It doesn't always have to be a tool to run away. Sometimes you get to do the opposite of Sion yelling cowards and run into the enemy team.
Well, that will most likely lock IG into playoffs as well as lower bracket. If FPX beat IG, I think things get weird, and then it's a battle between those two to get in at second place, but NIP firmly best team in this group. I know, considering that they dealt quite handily actually with IG towards the end of that series. You know, it's a massive glow up from where I thought this team would prove. I didn't think it would come online like this early.
No, I don't think I did either, and I think there were still a number of questions, right? It's like, okay, what version of Shanji and Aki are we getting? Is it going to be 2024 Shanji and Aki, who fell off the pedestal that people were beginning to put them on? Or was it going to be 2023 Shanji and Aki, where people were really excited about how OMG were playing in that year? Was it going to be V5 PP God swaggering all over the place with his ridiculous playstyle, a little bit reminiscent of people like Lehens, where you get all these weird picks as a potential option in the back pocket? Is it going to be the Leave that was the prince that was promised, this replacement for Uzi, or the person who was sent back down to the LDL? There were a lot of questions about this team, and I think the fact that all of those questions have come back with positive answers is very, very exciting.
Well, there is a Game 5 to watch over in the LCK, folks. I think at this point we wait until we see our MVP. I'll find someone to raid you guys over to, and I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the games today. Well, I say the rest of the games. The one game left of HLE2. And in fact, actually, probably best for me to just raid you over now.
Go do it. Go say hey.
Because, yeah, you can go find out who the MVP was just a little bit later, but I think that right now it's most important for you guys to enjoy some League of Legends, which is out there. Thanks for watching LPL today.
Yeah,
and we'll
myself.
end the stream here for you all. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks. Let's go find ourselves someone who's streaming the game. And Kitty will be, won't she? Enjoy, folks. And it was Leave. Of course it was Leave. Thanks again, everyone. See you next time.
网上评论能不能扛得住吧，心态一定要稳哦。The issue about like young players is that they get easily